A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Yes, it's the Goldbergs. Say, here's a new version of an old song that I bet's going to break all records for popularity. Listen.
Happy wash day just because of Doug. Happy wash day, have you heard of Doug? It's really great, you shouldn't wait. You've got a date with Dandy Doug. Doug will do just everything in your wash. Monday turns to Sunday when you use Dandy Doug.
Yes, this new kind of granulated soap is sweet music on wash day. It's a hit start to finish. Because does all three kinds of wash. Now, maybe you didn't know you had three kinds of wash, but remember, you've got those extra dirty pieces like dad's work shirts, the children's rompers. Well, that's one kind of wash. Then you've got your white pieces, your towels, tablecloths, and sheets. Well, that's two kinds of wash. Then you have those nicer colored washables, pretty rayon such like. Well, that's the third kind of wash. And new does them all. Yes, right down the wash line. Rayons and everything. Actually, Does is far safer for those nice washable colors than any other leading granulated wash day soap. Yet this same Does gets those grimy clay suits clean without hard scrubbing, without boiling. Why, there's not another soap made that can get clothes clean easier than Does, or get them whiter. Why, you've never seen more dazzling white washes than Does gives you. Honestly, once you try Does, you'll know how new it is. You'll see Does is not just a new improvement of an old soap, but a really new kind of granulated soap. Just look for that big red and white box with the name D-U-Z, Does. And next wash day, remember this song.
Does will do just everything in your wash. Monday turns to Sunday when you use Dandy Does.
And now, the Goldbergs. Rosie's leaving Glastonbury for a vacation. But it's a vacation without pleasure. A vacation that's really a retreat and a defeat. For Rosie's going because the young man she loves, whom she's learned to love with breathtaking speed, is engaged to another girl. Walter didn't hide this from Rosie because he never pretended to feel anything but friendship for Sammy's sister. All the love seems to have been on Rosie's side. And now, she's leaving. Only the Goldbergs don't know that she knows about Walter's fiancée.
All right, Molly, please. Now is no time to stand and bite your nails.
Right, I'm biting my nails. I'm waiting, dear.
Is Rosie ready?
We're waiting for you to get the car, dear. We're waiting for you to get the car to take us to the station.
Where's Sammy?
Sammy's upstairs talking to Rosalie.
When are you coming back, Molly?
When I'll be back, I'll be back Friday, Saturday. If Rosie leaves tomorrow on the Palmetto special, then I'll be back Sunday. I'll be by Mrs. Bloom in New York tonight and tomorrow night, evidently.
You sure you have enough money?
I have plenty, dear.
Buy the child what you need.
I will. I don't need so much. Play suit, maybe. Something. Flex, maybe. Jake.
Yes?
Jake, dear. You think that Rosalie knows that Walter's fiancé is coming, and that's why she decided to go.
If she knew, she would have told you, no?
I don't know.
We decided this was the best thing for her to do, no?
Yes, but I'll be lonesome. Can I help it?
And I wouldn't be lonesome. But we decided it's better for Rosie to be away than to be hurt.
Of course. And that's why she's going.
Why do you want me to get the car? I'll get it. How is Rosie? All right. There are all the bags. I'll get them. Stop biting your nails, Molly, please.
I'm not biting my nails. I'm not biting. Get the car.
Little children, little trouble. Big children, big trouble.
Stop to get noisy.
Well,
Family, wait, dear.
Ma, she's all right.
Family, you don't think that Rosalie knows about Walter? I mean, you don't think she knows, and that's why she's going, and that's why we're sending her to Florida.
I'm sure she doesn't know.
How can you be sure?
Well...
Are we ready? Yes, darling. Sure, I'm all ready. Papa's getting the car, and Sam laid the bag.
Yeah, where's your bag, Mom?
Mine back. A bag, also a bag. And what am I taking? I'll be by Mrs. Bloom tonight, and I'll be by Mrs. Bloom tomorrow night. Oh, everybody will be so glad. You'll see everybody, too, darling. You'll see Mikey, and you'll see Mrs. Bloom, you'll see Mrs. Malenka, you'll see everybody. Mikey's in the army, you didn't know. What did I do with my night over bag? What did I need to take with me? I put in my bag, darling, a toothbrush, and I put in my bag. And slippers, Ma. Slippers. And an extra dress. Extra dress. Go, Sally, darling. Please, dear. So we're ready. So we're going. You see, Rosalie, Mom, and you see, darling, it don't take long to get ready, huh, Rosalie? How long does it take once your mind is made up? Tante Elke said she's going to arrange such wonderful, wonderful parties for you. I'll have a good time. Why did you want me to go, Ma? Well, I wanted you to go because you studied so hard, darling. You studied so hard. Did you got such a marks because you didn't study? Didn't you came back out the third in the class? You looked back. You never ran away before. I mean, like girls going camps in the summer. You didn't even was a campfire. And Tante Elke called and she made the suggestion. I hope you didn't tell anybody what train we're leaving on. I don't want anybody at the station. Well, who would be at the station, darling? You said yourself you didn't want nobody, and you said goodbye to whomever you wished to say goodbye to, and then that's all. Who else would be? I mean, that's all.
All right, kids.
Kids? Somebody calls us kids. I'll get mine hats, mine gloves, mine pocketbooks. All right, Rosalie? Fine, Ma. I'll just get mine pocketbooks.
Rosie, will you think of me when you're on the beach and the moon is shining?
No.
Yes. Do you want to call anybody and say...
No. You know why I'm going, don't you, Sam?
It'll be good for you.
Will you write to me and tell me everything?
Well, Lou, it looks to me like you all going to miss the train. Come on, Rosie.
It was the early for the train. That's only the straight train.
I'll get 2 tickets for New York.
One returnable, darling. One returnable. Rosalie, have your gloves here? Just place the bags here, Family, dear.
You want to come with me, Sam? Are the bags all right here, Ma?
Why not? Just place them down.
Then come, Sam. Come, let's go.
No problem, Family. Go. I knew we would come early for the train, Rosalie. I knew that. You're excited, Rosalie? Very. Ma, what is it, Rosalie? Who told Walter about me? Why? I didn't want him here. Nobody told. And why is he here, Ma? Rosalie, please.
Hello.
Hello, Rosalie. How do you do?
The train is late, isn't it?
My father is calling. Yeah, excuse us, please.
Just a minute, Rosie.
It's all right, Rosalie. I'll be right back. Yes, Peg, dear. Yes, dear. How did you know that I was leaving by this train?
I didn't.
Then why are you here?
Well, my mother and a friend of mine are coming on the next train from New York. How long are you going to be in Florida? A week?
No.
2 weeks?
No.
A real vacation. A month?
How long are you going to be in Massenburg?
I don't know.
Then I don't know how long I'm going to be in Florida.
Well, what has that got to do with me?
I'm going away, Walter, and I may never see you again, so I don't care what I say to you. I'm not ashamed of my feelings because I can't help them.
Rosie.
Let me talk, Walter. I want to say it all before my mother comes back. Turn around and hide me so they can't see me.
You're crying, Rosie.
Don't let me cry. I'm not crying because I want to make you feel sorry for me. It's just too bad that men don't wear engagement rings. I would have known it right away. I would have seen the ring on your finger.
Rosie,
I'm not blaming you. It's not your fault. You didn't have to love me just because I fell in love with you. You didn't even know, maybe. But I did. I wanted to, and I did. So I hoped that you would like me the way I liked you. I hoped for it because I didn't know that, Norma. And now I do, and I'm going away until you leave Laston Day. It's not your fault. It's mine. It's all mine.
Rosie, if
I want to kiss you goodbye. Goodbye.
Rosie.
Goodbye.
Okay, now,
Comfortable, Rosalie, darling? Uh-huh. Why don't you sit better by the window? You're looking for something, Rosalie? A handkerchief? Thanks. Will you write to me, Mama, darling? Or will I write to you? Everything? Everything. If he's pretty, tell me that, too. I love him so much, Mama, darling. You'll never know how much. Get over it, Mama, darling. You know I will. I know I will.
Those words of Rosie's are a hope against hope. Since the words she said to Walter will have something to do with the future, too. You know, it's bad enough to have a lot of dishes to wash every day, but there's no need to make matters worse by using old-fashioned halfway soaps. I mean bar soaps, because they don't give you real speed. Or those tough granulated soaps, because they fall short on safety for your hands. Well, such halfway soaps are out of date now that the new Does is here. Yes, ma'am, Does. That new kind of granulated soap for everything in your wash. And believe you me, it has everything for dishes, too. From whirlwind speed to extra gentleness for your hands. Just notice how wonderfully smooth and nice your hands feel after doing dishes with Does. Actually, it's far kinder to your hands than any other leading granulated wash day soap. Yet no soap made gets dishes clean faster than Does. Why, it cuts even tough grease without any hard scouring. Yes, let those busy suds tell you how different Does is. Try it today. Does has everything for dishes. And be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs, written for you by Gertrude Bird. This is James Fleming wishing you good day for Procter & Gamble, makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all three kinds of wash.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Chain of Command by Stephen R.
This is about George. He's a friend of mine. Lives right here at the Brookside Atomic Laboratory with his family. My name is Charlie Boyle, by the way. I'm a security guard here at the lab. Been here now for, 20 years, I guess. Of course, they don't use the lab anymore. Lots of weeds and things, and, I stick around. There isn't really any place to go. Oh, well, I'm getting away from it after all. This is about George. Some of it I know myself. A lot of it he told me after it was over. It began, let's see now, it began the morning after George's wife lit into him.
I think, George, the least you could do is complain. After all, are you a mouse or a man?
Clara, what's the point of complaining? It'll just start trouble.
We do live at the laboratory. We have some rights.
The best thing we can do is just stay right where we are.
But it's dangerous.
There's nothing dangerous about it, just so long as we know what we're doing.
I'm not thinking about us. I'm thinking about the children.
The children know where they mustn't go.
George, I will not go on like this without a moment's peace of mind. If you had the slightest concern for my welfare or for the children's, you'd...
All right. I'll go talk to old Charlie, the security guard.
Why not talk directly to the superintendent?
Because of the complications. Now, I promise you I'll explain the situation to Charlie. He knows me. I've talked to him for over a year now.
And he hasn't the slightest influence.
I'll impress the seriousness of the situation on him.
All right, but do it now.
I will.
And be firm.
I'll be as firm as I can.
I was at my desk in the hallway. The place was deserted. I've always worked the night shift, except for my supervisor, Mr. Adams, who was in his office down the hall working late. I remember I was sort of dozing off when I heard George's voice in my ear.
Charlie.
It's
me, George.
Oh, yes, George. Yeah, how are you?
Fine. Can I have a chat with you?
Chat away. I got all night.
Good. It's about the trap.
The trap?
The one outside our door.
Oh, that trap.
Clara, my wife, says it's dangerous.
Well, no,
she'd like it removed.
Removed? Oh, no, George. That can't be done.
Regulations?
Regulations.
Suppose you just removed it without telling anybody.
Oh, they'd fire me, George.
I see. Clara's afraid one of the kids might get hurt.
Oh.
How about taking it up with the supervisor?
Mr. Adams?
Why not?
Well, it never occurred to me.
Why not give it a try?
Oh, I don't know. Mr. Adams doesn't even know you exist.
Maybe it's time he found out.
Well, it might get a bit sticky.
Give it a try. Well, come on, Charlie. Be a good fellow. Haven't we been buddies for a long time?
Oh, we've been buddies, all right, but, well, when it comes to something like
Will
this...
you try at least? Clara isn't going to let me alone unless something happens.
Okay, George. I'll give it a try. I straightened my tie and I brushed off my uniform real neat and I went into Mr. Adams' office. I could see the light under his door and I hear him on the phone, so I knew he was there.
Edgar? Adams up at Brookside Lab. Uh-huh. How are things in Washington? No, nothing serious. Just want to have a fingerprint check on one of our scientists. Uh-huh. Yeah, number 7X4582. That's right. How's the missus? Good. Now, excuse me a minute, will you? Somebody at the door. Come in. Oh, hello, Charlie.
Mr. Adams.
Edgar, can I call you back? Fine. Yeah, what is it, Charlie?
I'd like a word with you, Mr.
Well, look, Charlie, I'm on the phone to Washington. Is it a security matter?
Oh, in a way, Mr. Adams.
Well?
I don't know how to tell you, really.
Well, just tell me.
Well, sir, there's a mouse named George down in room 412 who doesn't want the trap outside his door.
Well, that's just too... What?
A mouse in room 412. He objects to the trap.
Hey, look, Charlie, I'm busy. Is this a joke or something?
Oh, well, I guess maybe it is.
I mean, I like a good joke as well as the next fella, Charlie, but, well, I mean, it's late and I got a lot of work to do. Do you mind?
No, Mr. Adams.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You just get back to your desk, huh?
Okay, Mr. Adams.
And, Charlie,
yes, sir, yes.
Next time one of the mice complains, tell him to come in here and speak to me himself.
Yes, sir.
Edgar Adams here again. I'm sorry. One of the security guards playing a little joke on me. He came in to say one of the mice here at the lab is complaining about the trap outside his door. You got him down Washington, too, huh? Yeah? What do you do about it? Traps, huh? Yeah. Yeah, it's the only way, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I went back to my desk. George was there, waiting. I could tell by his expression that he knew the answer before he even asked me.
No soap, huh, Charlie?
No soap, George.
I guess I'll have to tell Clara.
Yeah, I'm sorry, George.
What'd he say?
Well, he said if you've got a complaint, see him yourself.
He said that, huh?
Yeah. Of course, I didn't know what was going to happen. George didn't tell me till it was all over. I mean, really all over. And then it was too late for me to do anything. It turned out, though, that Clara, that's George's wife, told him that if he didn't go talk to Mr. Adams, she'd up and leave him. Yeah, leave him. And the kids, too. So him and me, we went.
And nothing negative on his record, eh, Edgar? Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, excuse me a minute. Come in. Oh, what is it this time?
Excuse me, Mr. Adams. It's that mouse. He wants to talk to you.
I'll call you back, Edgar. Now, look, Charlie, I mean, this has gone far enough.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
What the devil you got in your hand?
Well, this is him, sir. It's the mouse I was telling you about. George. Hey, George. This is Mr. Adams, the security supervisor.
How do you do?
Huh?
How do you do?
Ventriloquism, huh, Charlie? Pretty good.
Oh, it ain't ventriloquism, Mr. Adams. He talks.
Yeah, sure he does. Well, look, now you had your little joke, and I got a lot of work to do.
I'd like a word with you.
What? That's remarkable. It really... Now, look,
George,
you don't...
George, suppose I just leave you here and step outside.
That might be best.
Excuse me, Mr. Adams.
No, wait, you can't leave that beast in here.
He won't take much of your time.
But, hold it. Leaving a mouse on my desk.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, of course. What?
I said, can you hear me? Some people have trouble.
I'm going out of my mind. It's a hallucination.
No, sir, a mouse.
Listen, what are you?
A mouse. You know, cheese, rodents, all that sort of thing.
Do you mind if I touch you?
Okay, but take it easy. Careful, don't bend up the whiskers.
You're real.
Sure I'm real. Now, listen, about that trap.
The trap?
My wife is driving me goofy. Get it away from our front door, will you?
Your front door, yes. Yes, of course, Are you sure you exist?
I could bite you to prove it.
Never mind.
What about it?
What about what?
The trap.
The trap. Yes, of course. Well, I mean, that's a security problem. Look, would you do me a favor?
It depends.
Tell me, how come you talk?
Simple. My ancestors have been around this lab since it was built. We've gotten a lot of gamma radiation. A couple of them were used as an experiment to test radiation endurance. There were surgical operations, grafts of human brain tissue to mouse brain tissue to check the effects of the rays on human brains and so on. You follow me?
Wait a minute. I remember there were some experiments where human brain tissue was placed in a mouse and then exposed.
That's it. Those mice, the ones that survived, were my great-grandparents.
Holy smokes.
So what about the trap? I mean, we're nice, peaceful mice. We don't bother anybody. We don't eat much. We mind our own business.
Wait a minute. You say your great-grandparents were the first of this talking line? I mean, are there many of you?
3 generations, Mac. That's a lot of mice.
Tell me, have you talked to anybody besides me?
Well, I talked to Charlie.
No, I mean besides Charlie.
I tried it with a couple of guys. They wouldn't listen.
These others, what do you call them, your relatives, have they talked to anybody? Tell me.
How should I know? I suppose they've talked to dozens of people.
Where are these people they've talked to?
The mental hospitals are full of them. It's a problem, see. We can talk to kids and, you know, the odd ones, but anybody else, they get scared.
Uh-huh.
So what do I tell Clara about the trap?
Clara?
My wife, Clara.
Oh, well, it's a security problem. I think I'll have to take it up with Washington.
Okay, take it up.
Yeah, I'll dictate a memo first thing in the... No, I won't. They'll think I've flipped.
Okay, I'll tell Clara.
Now, wait a minute. Let me make a phone call. Sooner or later, this thing has got to be dealt with. Edgar Adams at Brookside. Now, Edgar, old man, we have just encountered a rather unusual security problem here at the plant. Yes. No, nothing like that. Mice. Yes. Talking mice. No, Edgar, it is not a joke. I know we were joking a while ago, but it turns out there are talking mice here. Edgar, listen. Please, Edgar, will you listen? I'll put one of them on the phone. Now, listen, would you just talk, please?
What'll I say?
Just say anything. His name is George.
Hello? This is George. I'm trying to get the authorities to remove the trap from in front of my... What?
Yeah, let me have it, will you? Edgar, listen, I am not kidding, and I have not gone mad. This is on the level. In my office at this moment, there is a mouse who talks. In this top-secret atomic laboratory, there are several hundred such mice, for all I know. Look, Edgar, you don't believe me, and I don't expect you to believe me. No, I don't want a vacation. Good night, Edgar. He doesn't believe me.
We keep running into this all the time.
George, are you really interested in doing something about that trap?
Have you ever met my wife? Oh, of course you haven't.
Wait a minute, I got it. I'm going to call for a top-level security conference at the Pentagon. George, will you come down there with me? Will you? We won't say a word. We'll just appear.
Washington?
First-class accommodations. We'll get you the best suite in town. You like cheese?
Do I like cheese? Can you get provolone down there?
Get what?
Provolone.
We'll get it. All the provolone you can eat.
I've never traveled before.
George, you'll love it. You'll love it. Chance to get away from the wife for a while, huh? What do you say, boy? You and me, huh? We'll live it up down there. Look, I know a couple of girls. I seem to recall they had mice in their pantry.
I don't know. I'll have to talk to Clara.
Look, tell her it's the only way to get action on the trap. Make it sound big, you know. You hate to go away from her, but it's for the kids. What do you say, pal, huh?
Well, okay.
Attaboy. Operator, get me chief of security at the Pentagon. Make it fast. This is an emergency.
I wasn't there, but like I say, George told me all about it after it was over. Seems him and Mr. Adams went down to Washington on a morning plane. George got a little plane sick, but he liked flying pretty good anyway. They checked in at the Statler, then went over to the Pentagon.
Order, gentlemen, order. As a chief, I hereby convene the meeting. It's been called as a Priority A emergency session by Mr. Adams, who, as you know, is security chief at our Brookville Atomic Laboratories. Mr. Adams?
Yes, thank you, Chief. Now, gentlemen, it may come as a shock to all of you. It did to me. That I've learned that some 1,200 English-speaking individuals have been operating freely within our top-secret laboratories at Brookville without any security clearance whatsoever.
You did say 1,200?
Actually, sir, 1,207.
Who are these people, sir?
Mice, Chief.
Mice?
Yes, sir, mice. I have one of them here with me. Somewhere. George.
Here.
George. Oh, there you are. George, would you just mind stepping to the center of the table?
Right.
Gentlemen, this is George.
How do you do?
Well, this is most remarkable.
George is the result of an experiment conducted some years ago in which bits of human brain tissue were grafted into live mice to test radiation effects.
And there are 1,200 of these inside the lab?
1207.
Without security clearance?
Without security clearance.
Oh. Sir, Mouse?
Call me George.
George. George, tell me what you know.
My wife wants the trap removed from our front door. She thinks it's dangerous for the children.
Has she been cleared?
Quiet, General.
Well, a major lapse of security.
I'm aware of the lapse, General.
What about the trap?
I refuse to countenance any act that will aid the entrance of more of these spies and saboteurs into the plant.
Who's a spy? I'm a mouse.
Tell me, have you overheard any conferences?
Maybe a few.
Seen any documents?
My kids play in the secret document file. It's the safest place in the lab.
Have you yourself ever seen any papers marked top secret?
Seen them? Heck, I've eaten them.
I believe this calls for some action, gentlemen.
Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams, if you and this rodent will retire to the next room, I think we'll have a brief caucus.
Yes, George.
Okay.
Yes, see you later, gentlemen.
Listen, what about the provolone?
Never mind.
Well, I think we should try to forget for the moment that these creatures are mice and deal with them as security problems.
Concur.
Now then, the first question is one of loyalty.
I raise a question at this point.
General?
Are these American mice?
No, I assume that...
Well, but do we know?
You have a point, sir. Perhaps we ought to get immigration in on this.
Immigration? I'd say extermination.
Before we do anything rash, General, I think we ought to learn more about these creatures. Who they are, what their habits are, their loyalties, how much they know.
Suppose this George creature won't tell us.
We'll have to use every trick in the book. Now, I would suggest we first try the velvet glove. The full treatment.
George told me about the velvet glove later. He said he didn't really suspect anything at first, what with all the excitement of being in Washington and so on, but after a while he got wind of what they were doing.
Room service. This is Mr. Adams in 712. Will you please send up a pound of
Provolone.
Provolone, please. Cheese. Yes, and some more wine. Yes, fine. Right away, please. They'll have some more right away, George.
Can't get enough of this stuff. Really delicious.
George, have a little more wine.
I don't mind if I do. This is the life, all right.
It's a great town, isn't it, George?
Stupendous.
By the way, George, those documents you mentioned eating, do you remember what they said?
Something about nuclear weapons. Listen, Adam, what about those girls you mentioned, the ones who had mice in their pantry?
Oh, yes.
How about giving them a call?
But George, a little late, don't you think?
Oh, the night's just beginning.
All right, George, I'll give him a little call. 6. Yeah, if my memory serves. Hello, Gail. My memory serves. Bob Adams. Hi, just down on a quick business trip. How tricks, Gail? No, not a thing. By the way, did you still have mice? Mice. Yeah. You what? You exterminated? Oh, I see. No. I don't think I'll have time this trip. I just wanted to call you up, say hello. Yeah, maybe next trip. Fine, my dear. So long.
What'd she say?
Unfortunately, the superintendent has a cat.
I see. Wiped out?
Wiped out.
That's something I want to take up with my congressman before we leave town.
We'll do that, George. George, have another sip of wine.
You don't mind if I do?
That's it. Now then, George, about those documents.
Oh, you stop about documents. I thought we were in town for a good time.
We are.
Well, round up a couple of mice, man, and let's get with it.
Mice, I'll tell you what, George. You wait here. I'll go out and I'll see what I can do, okay?
Okay, but make it snappy, huh? I'm raring to go.
Next morning, Adams woke George and told him they were scheduled for another conference at the Pentagon.
George, wake up, huh?
Oh, what a head.
Come on, George. We're due at the Pentagon.
Easy. Don't talk so loud. Wow. Where did you get those white mice last night?
Over at the National Research Lab.
Ooh. They must have been feeding those girls wheat germ.
All right, come on, George. Come on. You can sober up in the taxi. Come on.
All right, George. We've been beating around the bush long enough. Who are you?
I've told you, I'm a mouse. My name is George. I live in a hole at the Brookville Atomic Laboratory.
We know all that. We want to know who's behind you.
Nobody's behind me. Listen, you guys don't have to be afraid of me. I'm only a mouse.
It's the perfect fifth column. The ultimate weapon.
Do you realize that you and your family are living inside a secret government installation without any security clearance whatsoever?
I'm willing to be investigated.
How do we know you aren't an agent for a foreign power?
How do we know you aren't an agent for a foreign power?
Preposterous.
It'd be the perfect fifth column.
Gentlemen, I will not remain here to be insulted by this creature.
And I will not be insulted by you, sir. Gentlemen, good day.
No, George, wait, come back.
George,
he went that way.
Get him up.
George. He's going into the wall.
Grab him.
Too late. He's gone.
No, men, this is it. We'll have to decide on the course of action. We've got to recapture him.
Look, I think the first thing to do is get a cat.
He's too smart for a cat.
Well, something's got to be done.
Something's got to be done.
After all, these creatures have access to every secret file in the country.
Not to mention eavesdropping on our private lives.
The thing that bothers me is, gentlemen, they multiply in another 3 generations. There will be some 12 billion talking mice, 6 times the human population of the Earth.
It's no matter for fooling around. Kill or be killed, gentlemen.
The problem there is how.
We have reason to believe they're concentrated in Brookville. I say evacuate all humans and blow up the plant. Use the H-bomb if necessary.
I'm afraid you're right, General. We must exterminate.
I'll phone Strategic Air Command and alert them. SAC, please. Hello, Bill. This is Ed. Listen, fuel up a couple of big ones. No, nothing serious, but we may want to use them in the near future. Just stand by, that's all.
I'll call chemical warfare, get the best information on exterminating rodents. Hello? Hello? That's funny. It's gone dead. Hello? Hello? Something is wrong here. Sounds almost as if the line had been cut. Adams, got an alarm for that mouse.
Well, that was only the beginning, of course. Things began to happen pretty fast right after that. You bet your sweet satchel they did.
Well, Adams?
Yeah, I've been talking to Edgar. The FBI has located several hundred field mice, all of them non-talking. No trace of a mouse corresponding to our description of George. Team of Secret Servicemen been combing the Pentagon and the White House. We've got 1,500 traps baited with imported provolone in the Senate chambers alone. So far, no luck.
And what about cats?
The American feline fanciers have volunteered 100 Mausers.
Oh, good. Any more telephone wires cut?
I'm afraid so, Chief, yes. He managed to gnaw through the private wire from the president's suite to the Pentagon.
Oh, I see. We've got it spliced. What about the top secret file on that new chemical warfare agent? Is there any trace of that?
They found the file, but he managed to chew out the key symbols. I'm afraid it's useless.
Well, keep tracking him down.
Yes,
Sooner
sir.
or later, we'll get him.
Yes, sir. Only one thing,
Well,
sir.
what's that?
I hate to mention it, really.
Well, go on, man.
Well, sir, the damage has appeared in such widespread places recently.
Well, go on.
Well, there must be more than just George. In fact, we're afraid he has reinforcements right here in Washington.
But that's impossible. How?
I don't know how, sir, unless...
Unless what?
Unless... Well, it seems, sir, that there were a couple of female white mice from the National Research Lab.
You mean?
Yes, sir. I'm afraid so, sir.
I guess maybe you know the rest. Within a couple of weeks, every cable telephone line, power line. Every telegraph line in the United States had been cut. Also the wires on every plane, tank, train, and ship. They'd also destroyed every file in the country. That was only a month ago. Well, you can guess what's happened. Most everybody has left this part of the world. In this whole atomic laboratory, I'm the only human. And I'm not so sure I'll be around much longer. Yes, sir? The only woman. Not that they need a security guard, but, well, I'm just used to being here. I wouldn't know where to go.
Charlie.
Why, George. George, is it you?
That's right, Charlie.
Well, you look awful. Where have you been?
Well, I was down in Washington, Charlie, about the traps, remember?
Oh, yeah. That was before all the trouble started, over 2 months ago. Well, what you been doing all this time?
Well, you know, we've been pretty busy protecting ourselves, cutting the lines and stopping transportation and such.
I figured it was the mice done it, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't like it, but it was them or us, so we did it.
Well, how come you look so terrible, though?
Well, we stopped the trains and the planes, you know, so... Well, I had to walk back. That's one heck of a walk for a mouse.
Like I said, this is about George.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape! Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Tonight, we escape to a lonely lighthouse off the steaming jungle coast of French Guiana and a nightmare world of terror and violence as we bring you again, in response to hundreds of requests, Three Skeleton Key, starring Vincent Price.
Picture this place. A gray tapering cylinder welded by iron rods and concrete to the key itself. A bare black rock, 150 feet long, maybe 40 wide. That's at low tide. At high tide, just the lighthouse, rising 110 feet straight up out of the ocean. And all about it, the churning water, gray-green, scum-dappled, warm as soup, and swarming with gigantic bat-like devilfish, great violet schools of Portuguese man-o'-war, and yes, sharks, the big ones, the 15-footers. And as if this weren't enough, there was a hot, dank, rotten-smelling wind that came at us day and night off the jungle swamps of the mainland. A wind that smelled like death. A wind that had smelled the slow and frightful death that came one night to this bare black rock. Set in the base of the light was a watertight bronze door, and in you went, and up. Yes, up and round and round, past the tanks of oil and the coils of rope, casks of wicks, racks of lanterns, sacks of spuds and cartons and cans, and up, round and round. Over the light storeroom was the food storeroom, and over the food storeroom was the bunk room where the three of us slept. And over the bunk room was the living and cooking room, and over the living and cooking room was the light. She was a beauty, big steel and bronze baby with the sun gleaming through the glass walls all about, bouncing blinding little beams off the big shining reflectors, glittering and refracting through her lenses, the whole gigantic bulk of her balanced like a ballerina on the glistening steel axle of her rotary mechanism. She was a sweetheart of a light. And at night, you'd lie there on the stone deck of the gallery with her revolving smoothly and quietly over your head, easing her bright white eye 360 degrees around the horizon. You'd lie there watching to see that the feeders kept working, that everything ran right. And it wouldn't be bad, the other two fellows snoring in their sacks 2 levels down. You'd smoke your pipe to kill the stink of the wind, and it wouldn't be bad. About those other two, Louis and Auguste. What a pair. Louis, he was head man, was a big fellow from the Basque country, black beard, little hard black eyes, and a pair of arms that I tell you, those arms were as big around as my legs. Yes, head man he was, and what word he let go was law. A silent fellow, and although I spent my first 2 weeks trying to strike up a real conversation, the most I could ever get out of him was...
John, I took up this profession because I don't like people. They want to talk too much. It's quiet work, light tending. Let's keep it that way. You're getting to be as bad as Auguste. I thought maybe for once they'd send me somebody who...
That was Louis. When he accused me of becoming like Auguste, I quieted down, because Auguste was the talkingest man I'd ever met. The talkingest and the ugliest. He was hunchbacked, stood 4 feet high, had red hair and big blue eyes. It seems he'd been an actor in Paris.
Yes, indeed. Played in over 200 different productions, dear boy, at the Grand Guignol. Oh, but it was monstrous horrible, the way we used to scare the audiences. I was hated. Yes, they used to throw things and hiss and bare their teeth at me. Finally, it got too bad. I couldn't stand it any longer. I gave up the theater. My nerves, you understand. Yes, gave it up completely. I really did. Couldn't stand it any longer.
It all started one morning at 2:30. I was on watch, lying on the cool stone deck, pulling on my pipe, staring out at the blackness, the phosphorescent combers, and the big yellow stars, when out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something show up for a second, something the light had touched, far off. I waited for her to come around again, and when she did, there it was. Three-master, a big one, about a half-mile off, and coming down out of the north-northwest, coming straight for us. You must understand, our light was where it was for a very good reason. Dangerous submerged reefs surrounded us, and ships kept clear. But this one, this sailing vessel, was coming straight on. I went over to the gallery door and yelled, "Louis! Louis!" Couldn't understand it. I waited for the light to come around again.
Ship headed for the reef! Hurry right up!
I had the glasses out now. I couldn't read her name, but I could see her quite plainly. All sails set, the foam creaming away under her bow, her beautiful lines. A Dutch ship, I guessed her. But why didn't she turn? Every time it passed, our light hit her with the glare of day.
Ship? Where?
Northwest. The light will touch her in a moment.
Can't they see?
Look at her. She just keeps coming on.
Yeah, the squareheads.
What is it?
Watch northwest.
I know what it is.
Huh? What?
The Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman. We did a play about her once. Oh, what a performance. You ghastly galleon, hag-ridden, curse-driven, must on.
Shut up, will you? She's luffing.
Yes.
Sloppy way to come about. She's derelict, that's it.
Derelict?
Abandoned. The crew left her for some reason or other. But instead of sinking, she's gone on, running before every wind.
She'll not run long. Not with these reefs to break her up.
A beautiful ship. Now, why would men leave a beautiful ship like that?
She didn't ram us, although we all expected it. But as we waited for the crash, she luffed again, caught some odd gust, and went about. We watched her the rest of those black hours, heeling and rocking, pushed and pulled by every stray wind, every freak current. Watched her until the dawn came, till the sea turned from black to a pearly gray. And on she came again, heading for us. We all had our glasses trained on her now.
August, you can kill the light.
Right, Chief?
She doesn't look so good by daylight. Think she'll ground this time? What? I say, do you think she'll ground this time? Huh?
This is impossible. Absolutely impossible.
What?
Here, take my glasses. They're better than yours.
All right. And what is it you're... I had to focus, and then my breath froze in my throat. The decks were swarming with a dark brown carpet that looked like a gigantic fungus, but undulating. And on the masts and yards, the guys and all were hundreds, no thousands, I don't know, an endless number of enormous rats.
See them?
Yes, I see them.
Now we know why she's derelict.
Yes, now we know.
What are you two doing? Here, give me a look.
Yes, give him the glasses. Take a good look, chatterbox. Give you something to talk about.
She's still heading for us.
Yes.
She's going to turn. She better turn soon.
Suppose she doesn't.
You mean suppose she piles up on the key?
It's low tide.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Where's all the conversation, August, huh? Here, want the glasses again? Want another look?
No.
She's still coming on.
Go away! Go away!
Turn! Will you turn, I say, I pray you? Turn!
She's climbing up. The rats. Look, on the water. Like a carpet.
They're swimming.
Sure, they're swimming. Those are ship's rats.
But they're swimming for the rocks.
The door below. It's open.
Come on. Down we went, racing down the stone stairs, taking them 3 and 4 at a time. Scared? You bet we were scared.
August, you get the windows. Maybe they can climb. We don't know.
Right, Chief. But hurry!
Look. See them?
No. Oh, yes, I do. Up at the other end of the rock.
Look at them.
Millions.
They smell us. Here they come. Close the door.
Can't.
Here. Let me.
Oh, move. You move.
Heave.
Made it.
Holy. That was close.
One guy in. Look, there.
Get him!
He was as big as a tomcat, bigger. His eyes were wild and red, his teeth long and sharp and yellow. He went for us, starved and ravenous, and we fought him, fought that one rat all over the room. It was, oh, believe me, I do not exaggerate, it was like fighting a panther.
Got him.
We better get aloft. We ran up the winding staircase. We passed the tiny windows at the various levels, and at every one was a thick, wriggling, screaming curtain of brown fur. I was ahead of Louis, and I dreaded each successive level. Suppose they had found a way in.
Look at them. Will you look at them?
It's a nightmare.
Will you look at them?
The air of the gallery was thick and fetid with the stink of them. The light was dim brown, filtered through the crawling mass that swarmed over the glass all about us. I could not see the sky. Nothing but them. Their red eyes, their claws, their wriggling, hairy snouts, their teeth. The rats. They screamed and howled and threw themselves against the glass. They were starving. And we three, we stood very quietly. Oh, very quietly in the center of the classroom under our beautiful light. And we waited.
What do we do? What do we do?
Take it easy, old man. Take it easy.
It won't do any good to stand here and shake.
That's right. Anybody want a cigarette?
Yes, I have one, thank you.
Good boy. We've got to keep calm about this thing. Here's a light.
Yeah, they don't light the fire, do they?
Guess not.
Give me another match. You don't like that one, do you?
Don't rile them, August.
Give me some more matches. I'll strike them and strike them and strike them until they get scared and go away.
They won't go away. Not until...
Finish it, Chief. Not until what?
Not until they've been fed.
You can take just so much horror, and then you get used to it. And they were interesting to watch, you know. They couldn't understand the glass. They could see us, and they could rush at us, but that thin, invisible barrier held them off, stopped them. From time to time, we caught a glimpse of the rocks below. More rats down there, swarming brown velvet in the bright tropical sunlight. And then the tide began to rise. If only it had drowned some of them.
Ship's rats don't drown. No, sir, you cannot drown one of them. They're all climbing up the tower.
This bunch around us is getting thicker.
Yeah. Say, what's the time?
6:45.
You've got first watch, John.
Right.
Wake me at 10.
I will.
Come along, August.
It was getting dark. One side of the room was lit a soft, filtered red. Sunset through the rats. Oh, very pretty. I set the wicks, checked my fuel, and then lit the lamp. It caught them. Lit them in their gigantic wriggling web of pale, hairless bellies, twitching red tails, bright eyes. Then I started the rotary motor. The light drove them mad as she swung slowly and smoothly about. She blinded them in the fierce, stabbing bar of light, moving continually about at a turning, at a touching, of a moving around and around, and they twitching and shuddering, eyes flaming when they were struck by the light. Bright light moving, and behind on the dark side of the room, so close, I dared not turn my back, but you cannot help turning your back when you're in a room made of glass. On the dark side of the room, you could not see them, but only their eyes. Thousands of points of blank red light, blinking and twinkling like the stars of hell. Louis relieved me at 10, but I didn't get much sleep that night, and when I came up into the gallery early next morning, there stood August, his back to me. He was bowing to the rats, waving his arms and making a speech.
I am going to play once again that magnificent role which made me the toast of the Paris Theatre. Prelate, the evil genius of the medieval underworld. I am he who did guide the dark soul of the Marechal into the nether path. Do not be frightened, little children. I will not hurt you.
I stood staring at him, horror-struck, but he didn't notice me. The man had gone mad. He kept turning, telling his stories to all the rats, leaving no one out. August! August!
Another one. A latecomer. Take a seat on the aisle, dear patron.
August,
move over there.
Stop it.
Let the gentleman be
But
speaking.
he didn't stop. He went on, bowing and scraping to the rats, his big blue eyes rolling and winking, his wild red hair waving about him. I grabbed him by the arm and slapped his face. He looked at me like a child. And then his face screwed up. He looked as though he were about to cry. Go below, go on.
Oh, very well, then. Later, my dear audience, later. Matinee today.
Sure, he was crazy. But I guess we all were. A few hours later, he came back up and caught Louis and me teasing the rats. Yes, sounds horrible. It was fun. We could get right up against the glass and make faces at them. It drove them crazy. They would scratch away trying to get at our eyes. Louis was even cuter about it. He'd pull a piece of bread out of his pocket and press it against the glass. The rats would scramble into a solid ball, biting each other, clustering like grapes. From time to time, a whole knot of them would slip and fall 110 feet to the surf below.
Look at the show!
sharks!
They're eating them.
The sharks are our friends. Here, I'll get another bunch together. Here, my beauties. That's it. Pile of kill each other. There they go!
Goose joined in, too. Oh, very ingenious, Goose. He learned that if he spread-eagled himself against the glass, they'd bunch and bundle against his figure. Then he'd leap back.
Look! My portrait in rat.
It went on all day. And then I was lying in bed. It was about midnight. I was very tired, and I was just beginning to fall off to sleep when I became conscious of a new sound. Couldn't figure it at first. I got up, lit the lamp, and went to the window. Even as I looked at it, I saw one of the panes begin to sag in. They had eaten the wood away. Louis, come quick!
What is it?
They found a way in. I held the glass with my hand. Now they were all going crazy, and assured of the success of this maneuver, were all nibbling away at the wood. Louis ran below and then returned with a large sheet of tin. We spread it against the window and hammered it into place. Even as we did so, we felt the heavy body thudding against the other side as the window gave way.
That ought to hold. If it doesn't, we're done for.
Rats can't eat tin.
No, they can't. So what was that?
I don't know.
It came from below.
The storeroom window.
They're in. They're swarming up the stairs.
Drop the trap.
Right.
Two of them got in.
Let's go after them.
We didn't have to go after them. They came at us. I leaped to one side and grabbed a marlin spike, swung, and smashed one in midair.
No!
I whirled to see Louis with the other. It had ripped his hand open, and the blood was pouring all over the place. He held his hand aloft and kicked at the snarling rat. I stepped and swung and got him.
My hand! He got my hand!
That's both of them, Louis. I'll get you something to tie that up.
Blood! Look at it! My blood! I'm bleeding!
Now, don't worry about it, Louis. Here, look. I'll wind this kerchief around it. It'll be okay.
Blood!
There, now. It's not bad, just the flesh. Then I became conscious of another new sound. They were gnawing their way through the wooden trap door. I watched the wood fascinated. Even as I did, it began to give way, and a bristling, whiskery nose showed through. Louis, we got to go up. The next level was the middle quarters of the kitchen. I slammed the trap door there, too, but it, too, was wood.
My blood. What are we going to do?
I don't know. We'll be through this one in a moment.
The gallery. The trap door in the gallery is metal.
Good. Come on. We made it. We lay across the trap door exhausted. While below us, the rats took over the entire tower. I could hear them howling and fighting over our food supply, our water, our leather. And all about us, the others screamed and glared in at us, swayed in a tangled mass, hypnotized by the ever-turning light. By morning, the air in the little room was horrible. Until now, we'd been getting air from the tower below. Now that was sealed off. And so was all our food and water. We lay exhausted, panting, waiting. The hours crawled on. I was almost dozing from fatigue when I saw a sight that brought me too fast.
Would you like to come in, my beauty? Would you? I hold the powers of life and death, and I can let you in, you know.
August was standing by the glass, and in one hand he held a wrench. He was tapping the glass gently, not quite hard enough to break it. I eased myself to my feet and slowly, very slowly, tiptoed toward him.
All I have to do is tap just a little harder.
I found a coil of wire in the toolkit, and I trussed him up, fastened him to a stanchion in the center of the room. Louis was of no help. He lay on his side, looking at his bloody hand, weak and sick as a baby. So there I was, a lunatic and a coward for company, and all about watching our little drama, the rats. The day dragged by. The supply boat wasn't due for another 12 days. I don't know what they could have done if they had come. We had only one way of summoning them, and that was to shoot off distress rockets, but the rockets were 4 floors below. And even if they'd been right there in the gallery, I couldn't have opened a window to fire them. That night, I tended the light, but its flame was devouring our oxygen. The following day, we lay, thirst-tormented, starving, waiting, and the following night, I again tended the light, but the small supply of spare wicking we kept in the gallery had become exhausted, and quite suddenly, about midnight, the light went out. There's nothing I could do. Wicks were stored 3 levels below. Nothing I could do. Nothing. From time to time, I'd strike a match to see the clock. When I did, it lit up the million red eyes about us. All about. Watching. Waiting. Below, it had grown quiet. They'd cleaned us out, and now they, too, were waiting. All waiting. And then, the rats, quite suddenly, were silent. And then I heard it. And then I saw the sky and the stars. The rats were gone. I went to the glass. Out there on the water, a small freighter, a banana boat, showing a few lights, came softly and innocently at us. The light was out. They didn't know. I wanted to open the windows, to call out to them, to warn them somehow, but I was afraid. What if the rats were hiding from me, tricking me? So I waited. She grounded very softly on a reef not 200 yards from the quay. Grounded so gently that the man playing the cornet, was he a passenger or crewman off watch, didn't even stop playing. They tried washing her back off. I could have told them to save their fuel. The tide was rising, would have floated her free. And I waited. That's all. That's the story. The sun came up and there wasn't a rat on the whole quay. Every last one of that terrible army had left us, gone back to sea on their new ship. August, insane asylum, he never recovered. And Louis, they took him into Cayenne where he died of blood poisoning from his bite. Oh, yes. Well, that's the whole of it. And if you'll excuse me now, I must go set my traps. No, mouse traps. No rats in this lighthouse, I should say not. Life in the lights isn't bad, but sometimes when I see a strange vessel approaching, I get a little nervous, sure. Somewhere on the seas, there's a little banana boat without a crew. That is, without a human crew.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Three Skeleton Key by George Tadouz, adapted for radio by James Poe and starring Vincent Price as Jean. Supporting Mr. Price were Harry Bartell as August and Jeff Corey as Louis. Sound effects on Three Skeleton Key, created by Cliff Thorsness and executed today by Mr. Thorsness, Gus Bays, and Jack Sixsmith, have been awarded the Best of the Year by Radio and Television Life magazine.
Harry Essman was at the control panel, and special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week...
You are swimming for your life in the dangerous waters off the Florida Gulf Coast, about to be smashed by a launch carrying a vicious criminal who must kill you or die himself. And on shore, 500 yards away, the police are waiting to arrest you for murder. And there can be no escape.
Next week, we escape with an exciting tale of temptation and death on the Gulf Coast of Florida, as John and Gwen Bagney tell it in Danger at Matacumba. Goodbye, then, until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. A patch of weeds, a boxer's biography, and a mild, lukewarm bath. They're all clues that lead the police of Jackson, Michigan, to a killer in the gangbuster story on CBS this Saturday night. It's the case of the double push, to be heard on most of these same CBS stations this Saturday night. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The magic island of Euclidia in the South Pacific Ocean is a strange place, and strange things are going on near the island. When Jerry and Joan went out in the Euclidean submarine to capture Johnson's rescue boat, they expected thrills and danger, but were certainly not prepared for what has actually happened to them. The submarine came to the surface by standing on end in the water, and Johnson's boat came along right on schedule. But from there, the thing went all wrong. First, Johnson's boat did not stop, but went tearing along toward the location of the island. And next, Captain Bradford in the Euclidean radio room cannot get a message from Johnson. We look into the submarine as it races along after Johnson's boat.
Gee whiz, Joan, but my arm hurts from that magnetism holding him in one position so long.
My arms hurt also, Jerry, but we must not complain. Things could be so much worse.
I'll say they could. Johnson's boat could have been sunk back there. Then we'd have had something real to worry about.
Yes, and we know Mother and the captain are all right, for we heard their voices in the control chamber. And the captain's message to Johnson showed that...
Funny thing about that, though, why didn't Johnson answer?
I think his radio must have... Oh, Jerry, look, my arm.
Huh? Oh, boy, we can move again.
You may move enough to come up forward to the control section at once, both of you.
Better let me hang on to your arm, Joan. It's sort of hard to walk on this narrow steel thing after sitting there so stiff all this time.
I like to have you hold my arm, Jerry.
Gee, do you?
Yes, then I can help you if you start to fall down.
Oh, what are you talking about?
You will sit over there, Cleopatra, and you here, Hall. We will attempt to reach Johnson with a message.
Well, to tell you the truth, Commander, I can't figure what Johnson's up to when he refused to answer that message of the captain's.
It is a very peculiar situation. Perhaps Johnson was afraid of a trap when Captain Bradford said he was speaking from the Euclidean voice transmission chamber. But did not Johnson start to send a message and then stop?
Yeah, we heard his call letters, heard them repeated. Then the set went dead. Maybe it was your set here, Commander.
It could not be the transmission apparatus here. Mistakes are never made by Euclideans. This equipment is perfect.
Maybe Johnson figured he'd better, lay low until he was sure what he was getting into.
Naturally, Jerry, you have only stated the obvious. Cleopatra is correct. Your answer betrays no particular intelligence on your part. And if that is all you have to offer, we will proceed.
Proceed with what?
Our attempts to contact Johnson and warn him.
Warn him of what? He's heading right for the island, and that's where you want him to get, isn't it?
Precisely, but the island is submerged. He might miss it.
Golly whiskers, that's right.
And if the island should be rising out of the water just as Mr. Johnson's boat passed over it, his boat would be wrecked on the top of the island. Precisely.
I wish you wouldn't say that precisely thing all the time. It sounds like G-47.
Is there anything about G-47 you find objectionable?
Oh, no. He's swell. Yeah, I like him fine. Only he kind of scares me with those surprises he's always springing. It's like finding a snowbank in the desert.
Oh, Jerry, please be careful. Remember that the commander may do as she pleases.
Okay, Joan. All right, Commander. Well, what do you want me to do?
Call Johnson. Advise him of the true state of affairs here and on the island. Ask him why he ran by us, and warn him to lay to before he reaches the position of the island.
Then what?
The generators will be kept active until this is settled. The apparatus is ready. There is the switch. You may operate it. Remember, close it before addressing any communication to me. Proceed.
Careful, Jerry.
I know. J-12C. Calling J-12C. Jerry Hall on Euclidean submarine to J-12C. Hello, J-12. Hello, J-12. Jerry Hall for Captain Bradford. Calling Johnson on J-12C. Hello, J-12. Hello, J-12. Oh, well, that doesn't do much good, does it?
You will wait a few seconds for possible reply, then repeat.
Look, can I ask you a question, Commander?
You may ask a question.
I have told you about your speech, Jerry. You must learn.
Oh, well, golly whiskers. Can or may or whatever you want. What I want to know is if it's all right for me to ask you a question.
It is, if the question is proper.
Oh, it's a slick question.
Jerry, the commander will not understand slick.
Okay. It's a clever and vital inquiry as to the nature of a certain phenomena existing in the present situation. How am I doing, babe?
The major portion of your outburst was acceptable. To what do you refer?
Well, Magic Island, Euclidia. It's a secret from the rest of the world, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Then how about all this stuff I'm putting out into the air over this radio now? Calling Johnson and signing this boat and telling him all about the island. Well, and all that.
These waves do not reach beyond the island and are strictly directional.
You mean those waves go out only in a straight line to the island and then stop there?
Precisely.
But don't the signals get weak at the end of that distance?
No, Jerry. When one of your motor cars runs just so far on one charge of gasoline, does it run slower because the gasoline is nearly gone?
Well, of course not. It just runs till the gas is gone, then stops suddenly, all at once.
So it is with the Euclidean voice transmission beam.
An excellent explanation, Cleostra. You have done well for so young a Euclidean student. Your question is answered now in terms which your limited mentality may grasp, I trust.
Yeah, just skip me. Act like I'm not here.
But you are here, Jerry.
Oh, thanks for noticing it. I was kind of doubtful there for a minute.
Enough of this. Send another message to Johnson, Hall.
Okay. What'll I tell him?
Get him first. Silence, Cleostra. Transmit, Hall.
J-12C. Calling J-12C. Jerry Hall at J-12C. Hello, Johnson. Hello, J-12C. Jerry Hall at Johnson. J-12C. Calling J-12C. Calling J-12C. Hello, Johnson. Hello, J-12C. Oh, it's no use.
It would seem to be hopeless. I will take over the communication. Silence, both of you. S1 to G47. Commander S1 to G47. S1 reporting.
Ready, G47. Report, S1.
Unable to raise Johnson boat. Your answer checks the proper operation of my beam. We are running a true southerly course to the island. Johnson's boat on surface 8 knots in advance this boat. Cannot raise signal from him. Advise proceed.
What is Johnson's speed?
Stand by. SE1.
Yes, Commander.
Check speed of boat on surface 8 knots advance of this position.
Speed reading is discharge vibrations constant at 35 knots.
Excellent. That is all.
Very good, Commander.
S1 to G47. Speed of surface boat constant at 35 knots.
Correct, Commander. You will proceed on your course exactly.
Captain Bradford on Euclidia. J-12C to Bradford.
Proceed, J-12C.
We'll talk only to Bradford.
Very well. Captain Bradford will take over.
Hello, J-12C. Go ahead, Johnson. Bradford to J-12. Go ahead, J-12C.
My relief operator has logged a lot of messages here that sound mad. Stories about the island of Euclidia and a transmission room on the island from which your messages have been coming. What's it all about?
Everything just as messages said. Jerry and Joan aboard sub which tried to board you. Why didn't you stop for it?
Did not see it. We were all down in the hold trying to stop leak in the oil tanks. Leaking badly. Think we'll run out of fuel before we reach position of island. Making 35 knots now. 55 miles from island. Fuel supply will not last more than 25 miles at present rate of loss. Also danger from fire. Have you any instructions?
Take all possible precautions against fire. Run as far as fuel will allow. Then lay to and wait for aid. Advise exact position when you stop. Acknowledge.
Run till fuel exhausted, then lay to for aid. Advise exact position then. Is that all?
How about it, G47?
That is all.
Okay, Johnson, that is all.
Commander S1.
Yes, G47.
Proceed at your present speed. Orders later. That is all.
Present speed. Orders later. That is all.
Boy, are we going places and hearing things.
It is all very wonderful, is it not, Jerry? I think you are learning a great many things of the efficiency and accuracy of the Euclideans. Are you not, Hall?
Oh, sure. You got a lot of swell scientific wrinkles, all right. But nobody on Euclidean knows anything about being a human being or having any fun.
You mean pleasure, relaxation? Is that what you call fun?
Sure. Have a good time. All this scientific work all the time's no good. Not good for you either.
We have ample recreation on Euclidia. I have told Jerry about our general rest periods, when we may do foolish mathematical and electrochemical problems to suit our pleasure.
Yeah, I heard all about that idea of a good time, but I don't want any of it.
What is your idea of relaxation?
Let me ask you one first. Were you born on Euclidia?
I was. I was the first child born on the island, and I am the chosen commander of the submarine commanders. Isn't that wonderful, Jerry, to command this boat?
Swell. But what do you know about parties, dances, going to picture shows, skating, ball games, and, well, what do you know about any of that?
It all sounds very useless. We will not tolerate those things after Euclidia takes over the world. But there is one thing very nice that I have seen, Commander. What is that? My mother's clothes. Oh, they're lovely. Are they of Euclidean cloth?
You bet they're not.
Then they will not keep out light and sound rays. Anyone can see what you are doing and hear all you say.
Yeah, but in our world, people don't go around snooping into other people's business.
You mean you say and do as you please? There is no one to tell you how to spend your time, and your clothes are better than ours? Oh, yes, Commander. Much nicer. I am sure my mother would let you look at some of her clothes if you would visit the yacht when we get back to the island. I will. Silence. Such talk is stupid. You two remain here. I have business with the engineer in the bow.
Hey, Joan, I got an idea.
Yes, Jerry?
That commander, I've got her wondering about this Euclidia thing.
I do not understand, Jerry.
Well, Captain Bradford said that he thought we'd find a lot of these Euclideans were just prisoners and would be on our side if they saw a real chance to get to our world and be free from all this.
But, Jerry, the commander is a person of power and position on Euclidia. When Euclidia takes over the world, she will command all the fleets of the world.
Maybe. But she's a girl, a 22-year-old girl. And when you started to talk about your mother's dress being so fine and all, she pretty near forgot to act like a machine.
I'm afraid you are mistaken, Jerry. You will be disappointed if you look to the commander for any help.
Look, Joan, the only reason we can't plan to get away from all this is because the Euclideans know everything we say and do. That's right?
Yes, Jerry, and they always will.
No, they won't. When that commander left here just now, she switched off these microphones and amplifiers in this boat. And she did that so we could have a chance to talk. Get it, Joan? We can talk. Nobody can hear us. And the commander fixed it that way on...
The Euclidean submarine bearing Jerry and Joan is plowing steadily southward toward Euclidia, the magic island of the South Seas. The submarine set out to capture Johnson's boat, but Johnson ran past them and is continuing on toward the island. His last radio message telling of an accident to his boat. Oil tanks leaking. May not have enough fuel to make port. With all this in mind, the submarine is following Johnson closely, so they may pick him up and tow him to port. Mrs. Gregory and Captain Tex Bradford have watched and heard all this from the control room in the submerged island, but they can see and hear nothing of the submarine now, as the commander has shut off the power, and Jerry is telling Joan he thinks they've found a friend.
I am afraid you are mistaken, Jerry. These Euclideans are too happy with their power and with their dream of conquering the world.
But I tell you, I know what I'm talking about. Now listen, Joan, when that woman commander left us here in the central control section and went up forward there to talk to that engineer, she cut off all the gadgets that pick up our voices and carry them all over the sub, didn't she?
Yes, Jerry, but that was only done to conserve the power. If this submarine will have to tow a crippled boat to the island, all the power will be needed to operate the towing magnet.
That's all okay, and it gave her a swell excuse. But I'm telling you, she wanted us to have a chance to plan something about what we're to do when we get to Johnson's boat.
Even if that were true, Jerry, there is nothing we could do of any value. We will tow Mr. Johnson to Euclidia. His boat will be captured with all on board, and Captain Bradford's formula will fall into G47's hands.
Oh, gee, I forgot the formula for a minute. I guess there's nothing we could do about that, is there?
You said Mr. Johnson had some of those clever little homing pigeons on his boat. Could he not send a message by one of them? Send the formula on to someone else?
No chance. The pigeons on his boat are trained to go to your mother's boat, and they'd only end up on the island again with the formula. Johnson might just as well take the formula in himself and hand it over to G47.
Let me warn you of one thing, Jerry. Do not try to do more than you have permission to do. You will find the commander and the engineer very swift in their punishment.
Gosh, that engineer is big enough and ugly enough to get a job scaring babies anytime. But I got an idea. The skipper's going to give us a break.
I am afraid, Jerry, that idea will get you into serious trouble.
I'll take a chance on it when the time comes. But right now, I won't act like I noticed anything funny about the way she acted.
Be quiet now. She is returning.
She looks like she means business, too.
I think you were wrong, Jerry.
I see that you at least had intelligence enough to obey instructions and remain as you were.
I have given the engineer orders to prepare the stern electromagnets for towing Johnson's boat when his fuel is exhausted.
May I ask you something, Commander?
You may, if the question is within reason.
You use explosive gas for power on this sub, don't you?
Correct. Those lockers are full of tubes of the solidified gas, which, when placed in the discharge tubes and vaporized, explode continuously with tremendous and noiseless power.
Thanks. That's swell. But what bothers me is how you get power to run that big generator, and whether the power is going to come from to run magnets heavy enough to tow a big boat.
The generators are run by water pressure. There are minute tubes throughout the outer shell of this boat, parallel to the axis. The natural rush of water through these tubes is utilized by turbines in the bow and stern. They drive the generator. The storage batteries alone would handle the generators for an hour. Is that not so, Commander? Precisely.
But, gee, don't you lose a lot of speed by having those tubes pick up all that water?
The loss is 15%, negligible compared to the amount of current generated.
Boy, oh boy, this is really a submarine.
You will see the magnets working very shortly.
Are we close to Johnson's boat?
It is difficult to get the exact range now. His motors have stopped. Then he has run out of fuel. We may come up to him very soon, then.
Will you take this sub up onto the surface to tow him?
This is a submarine. It has never been on the surface, except as you saw it standing perpendicularly to act as a conning tower.
But how can you hook the magnets on his boat?
He has been instructed by G47 to drop an anchor over his bow. We will pick up the anchor with our stern magnets and remain in at least 2 fathoms of water. What will our speed be, Commander, towing that heavy boat? There is no emergent need of speed. We will not attempt more than 15 knots.
Golly whiskers. I think that's pretty fast for a submarine to tow a 100-foot cruiser with a magnet on its anchor.
It will not be difficult.
There is a discoloration in the water, Commander.
Excellent, SE-1. We will observe it closely. Maintain speed and course.
Maintain speed and course. Due south. 25 knots.
Now we will check on this discoloration in the water.
Hey, wait a minute. You're not going to open a hole in the wall of this thing, are you?
Jerry, be quiet. Certainly I am, but have no fear. You will not drown. If your powers of observation were worthy, you would see that I am opening a small slide in the inner shell. So. Then a mere slit in the outer shell. And there we have a small stream of water passing through that channel and continuing harmlessly out of the stern turbine exhaust.
Gee whiz.
Is it not wonderful, Jerry?
It sure is.
Yes. So SE-1 was right. There is a distinct discoloration in the water. Oil. Fuel oil for diesel motors. We are following exactly in the wake of Johnson's leaking fuel tank. There. The volume of oil is increasing. Good. We are near the boat.
That's sure keen. You left me behind on one thing.
Did you not understand how the water passed through there without entering the compartment, Jerry?
Oh, sure, I understood that. But where did that oil come from?
Are you being deliberately stupid? You have heard me say it came from the fuel tanks on the boat we are following.
Oh, I don't mean that. I mean that the top of this sub is 2 fathoms below the surface of the water. Well, how did the oil get down 12 feet in the water? Where I come from, oil floats until it scatters. This is a steady stream.
The question surprises me with its intelligence. Had you been more observant,
you would have noticed SE1 has raised a slender feeler tube in the bow. This reaches the surface and turns a jet of surface water through the channel I just opened.
Do you have anything as wonderful as that in your world, Jerry?
If we do, I can't think of it right now.
Silence. I must speak to G47.
Gee, Joan, I was...
Silence, I said. That means absolute silence. S1 reporting to G47. S1 to G47.
You may proceed.
Boat we are pursuing has stopped. Motors silent. Oil drift on surface here indicates we are nearing boat. Prepared to tow it to Euclidia. Special orders?
None. Proceed. That is all. G47.
Gee, we're going to pick up Johnson's boat now.
Naturally.
You will find the method of attaching the magnetic stern fin to the anchor of the captive boat highly illuminative, Jerry.
You mean I'll get a kick out of it?
There will be no kicking here. The language of the stable is out of place in this well-ordered machine.
He is just trying to have some fun with me, Commander. Jerry acts as if he didn't understand big words.
It seems to be no effort for him to misunderstand anything.
I guess you're right, Skipper. I'm sorry, Commander.
SE1, prepare to tow Johnson boat.
Prepare to tow Johnson boat. Has boat been advised to have bow anchor up?
That has been done. You will maneuver position. I will personally attend to securing anchor with stern magnetic fin. Maintain speed and course until boat sighted.
Very good, Commander.
You two may witness this operation if you care to accompany me to the stern section.
Oh, golly whiskers. That's swell, thanks.
Hold. What is the meaning of this?
What?
Have you no manners? If you are not cognizant of the accepted tactics in the presence of a superior, you might at least observe the common decencies.
Well, what have I done now?
You started to precede the commander, Jerry. Oh, Jerry, I am so disappointed in you.
I'm sorry, Joan. Golly, I was so excited I forgot to... Well, I'm sorry, Commander.
It may be overlooked this time, as the damage is purely rhetorical. But let that be a lesson to you, Hall. There is a place for everyone in the Euclidean scheme of things. Your place is at all times secondary to that of the commander.
Right.
You may follow me to the stern.
Boy, can she be tough.
I told you, Jerry. You made a mistake about her.
I guess I did.
You will sit there, Hall. Remember that the magnetic paint on your hands and shoes is still active.
Okay, I won't get funny.
You there, Cleostro?
Thank you, Commander.
You will remain silent. You may see all that is of interest through the transparent shell.
Boat dirty ahead. Side draft. We will clear it.
Excellent. Retard speed to stop stern fin directly below bow anchor of that boat.
Retarded. Losing speed. 20 knots. 15 knots. 10.
Full reverse tubes.
Full reverse tubes. 5 knots. Stationary, Commander.
Very well. Hold it so with stabilizers. I will project the stern magnetic fin. What is this, SE1?
Yes, Commander.
You have contributed an atrocious piece of navigation. You have driven about 3 fathoms beyond the anchor from that boat.
Sorry, Commander. Reversing at once. Yeah, 3 fathoms.
That is satisfactory.
Gee whiz. The poor guy misses an anchor chain 18 feet with the stern of the boat 80 feet from him, and he gets the dickens for it.
That was a serious error, Jerry.
Not in my country it wouldn't be.
Silence. Stabilize as you are, SE1.
Stationary, Commander.
Very well. Observe closely, Hall. This lever. Move it to this position, so. The fin is extended. It just touches the anchor.
Boy, that's slick figuring. And the engineer moved mighty fast, too, when he gave you those other 18 feet on the reverse.
Things must move swiftly to have a value here, Jerry.
Precisely. Ready to absorb the contact shock?
Ready.
Very well. What is the weight of that boat, Hall?
Gee, I don't know.
I should have known you wouldn't know anything of value.
I have never heard the tonnage referred to.
Then I must estimate it. The generator's full, so. 3 circuits of magnets will handle the load easily. You may feel a slight shock as the magnets in the fin engage the anchor, so.
Gee whiz. Did you see that thing grab that anchor, Joan?
Yes, Jerry. I have seen it before.
Silence. Ready, SE1.
Ready, Commander.
Full speed ahead to break inertia, then retract to 10 knots for cruising.
Right.
Very good, SE1. Set your regulator for 10 knots. I will attend the current supply. Same course. Proceed.
Very good, Commander.
Boy, we're really pulling that big boat 10 knots an hour now?
I hardly think yet, Jerry. It should take about 30 seconds to attain speed.
Can I use the radio now? We can talk to Johnson easy when we're this close together.
You are entirely too close to Johnson. I will take no chances with you, Hall. Remain exactly as you are.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman. And today, as Clark Kent, he has assured Perry White that the Siamese cat will again talk. We'll learn whether or not he's right in a moment. But first, here's a word from Dan McCullough.
You know, gang, you always want to keep your sunny side up these wintry mornings. And that's easy when Mom dishes out Kellogg's Pep for breakfast. Because this sunny, golden-flavored cereal tastes so doggone good that, well, you're bound to feel mighty cheery. And Pep has such a load of fine nutrition, it helps start a good day off with a bang. Yes, sir, Kellogg gives Pep extra amounts of that good old sunshine vitamin D and vitamin B1, an energy vitamin. Mom will tell you that you need these vitamins to help you grow up husky and strong. And, of course, you're glad to have Pep, because that's how you get your exciting prizes, the bright-colored comic buttons all the gang's collecting. You sure wouldn't want to miss out on the fun, comparing notes with your friends on how many different buttons you have and wearing them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap, and trading duplicates. These comic buttons are so true to life and so slick-looking that, well, you'll want all 18 of them. And you can get them, too, easy as anything. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. And you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is to ask Mom to get you some Kellogg's Pep and look for your exclusive prize inside the package. There's a thrilling, bright-colored comic button for you in every package of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
First Lois Lane, and then Jimmy Olsen disappeared mysteriously after revealing that Lois's Siamese cat had spoken to them in a human voice, warning them to beware of editor Perry White. Then White, too, insisted he had heard the cat speak in Lois's voice, and he told Clark Kent he was afraid he was losing his mind. Kent promised to solve the baffling mystery that very night, and brought the frightened gray-haired editor of the Siamese cat to his apartment. The cat, he said, would reveal the whereabouts of Jimmy and Lois and all the other answers to the riddle. As we continue now, Kent leans forward tensely, watching the fawn-colored cat crouched on the divan. Pale and haggard, Perry White paces the floor like a caged lion. Listen.
Now, look, Kent.
Wait, Chief. The cat's going to talk.
I thought you said it can't talk.
It can't. But it will.
No, it can't. But it's going to anyhow, right?
That's right.
I don't get it.
Now, please be quiet, will you? Any second now.
Any second now, you're going to bring a rabbit out of a hat.
Wait a minute.
Great tea, wasn't it? I thought I was crazy. Look, compared to you, I'm as sane as a newborn baby.
Will you be quiet?
No, I won't. All this talking cat stuff and Lois and Jim disappearing has finally got you. Now, listen to me. Now, relax, Kent. Relax. Keep your nerves a rest. I'll heat up some milk for you.
Come back here, please.
Hot milk is the thing for frazzled nerves.
Will you sit down?
In fact, I'm going to have some myself. Now, you wait right there.
Will you please come back here, or do I have to pick you up and carry you back?
No. I'll take it easy, Kent. I'll try to control yourself.
Chief, I'm telling you for the last time, come back here.
All right. I'm coming back. I see. Don't get violent. Try to get a grip on yourself.
I ought to get a grip on you.
No. Now, Kent.
Talking cats, Lois and Jimmy disappearing into thin air.
I know just how you feel. Just thinking about it makes the little colored pinwheels go round in your head, doesn't it?
In my head?
Okay, in my head. Now, try not to excite yourself. You'll feel better soon. I feel lots better than I did. Already, I feel fine. What's that?
Just the cat meowing. What did you think it was?
I don't know.
Maybe you thought it was Jim. Oh, no, that's right. You decided Jim was the black cat on his bed. This Siamese cat must be Lois. Or have you discarded the silly theory that human beings can turn into cats?
No, don't talk like that, Kent. You'll drive me crazy again.
All right, then stop acting silly. You said I'd solve this mystery tonight, didn't I?
Oh, sure, you did, Kent. Sure, you did.
And I will. Talking cats.
Now,
Why doesn't it speak?
Well, maybe it doesn't feel like talking.
Oh, it feels like talking, all right, and it will, too.
It will, huh?
Yes.
And are you sure you won't let me fix you some nice hot milk
What
or
for?
maybe a nice hot cup of tea?
Car's still here.
A car? Here? You mean you see a car in this room?
Of course not. Down in front of the building.
You can look through the floors and brick walls and see a car down in front of the building, eh? Just like Superman, huh? No, that's fine, kid. That's fine. Now, what kind of a car is it? A trolley car?
Oh, it's a little coupe. Oh, did I say I saw it? Oh, I meant I heard it. I've got pretty sharp ears.
Yes, of course you have. You've got ears like a cat. A fox. What about the car?
Oh, it... Uh-oh. Now it's driving away. Hey, I don't understand this.
Don't try to understand it. Just forget all about it. Drink some hot milk and go to bed. The police are bound to find Lois and Jimmy. I hope.
They can't. We've got the cat. Don't understand why that car drove away after following us here. I was sure it was somehow mixed up in this
What car followed us?
The little coupe. It was parked near your house when we got there this evening. When we came out with the cat, it followed us here.
Are you sure?
Of course I am. See, my hunch is that whoever's behind all this crazy stuff is the unknown person who sent that cat to Lois in the first place. He kept watch outside Lois's apartment building. And when Jimmy took the cat to his house, this unknown person trailed him. And when the cat was taken to your house, he trailed it there. And when we brought
it to your place tonight, he trailed us here.
That's right.
Now, even if that were true, which I doubt, how does it account for Lois and Jim disappearing and the cat talking?
Oh, this man must have a way of making a voice seem to come from the cat.
You mean he's a ventriloquist?
What?
No. He stands on the sidewalk below Lois's apartment and sends his voice 16 stories up and out of the cat.
Of course not.
Then how did this unknown magician do it?
I don't know. I was sure I'd find out tonight when the cat talked. Always talked before when it was taken to a new place. But now...
Now what?
Now I don't know.
No, of course you don't. Neither does anybody else. Now take my advice and forget about it, at least until morning. Now, you need a good night's sleep to steady your nerves. So do I. Now, come on.
Wait. What's the matter? The cat's opening its mouth. Maybe it's going to talk.
That's quite a speech you made. Come on. We both need some sleep, and we'll be fresh and sane in the morning.
Now, you go to bed. I'm not sleeping.
Of course you are.
No, I'm
of course
not.
you are. You're just too tired to know it. Must be 3 o'clock in the morning. What? What's the matter? My wristwatch says only 11:30.
Oh, you must have forgotten to wind it. That mantel clock keeps pretty good time. It's 10 minutes to 3.
I didn't forget to wind it. Uh-oh. Listen to it. Sounds like all the parts come loose.
Yeah.
I must have broken it during the excitement at that haunted house tonight.
Too bad. Oh, come on, Kitty. Talk to me, will you? Here, come here. Sit in my lap and tell me what happened to Jim and Lois. Now, come on up here.
Oh, stop it. You give me the shivers.
I was sure that coupe had the answer.
And stop with the coupe. There probably never was one. No, I'll have to leave this watch at the jeweler's. I gave my old one to Poco, and Mr. Grayson gave us these new ones for Christmas.
Oh? Oh, you can have mine. I've got an extra.
Be careful, Mr.
Chief!
Kent.
Who said that? The cat!
Be very careful, Mr. Kent.
Quiet, will you? Quiet.
Beware of Perry
No,
White.
no. Quiet, Chief.
Perry White is out to get you. Just the way he got Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen.
That's a dirty lie.
I warned Miss Lane, but she didn't believe me. She trusted Perry White. I warned Jimmy, too.
Like that.
But he didn't believe me either. I told him Perry White was going to drive them mad and then get rid of them.
Of all the rotten lies. Please, I don't care. Nobody can talk that way about me. Not even a cat.
Don't make the same mistake Miss Lane and Jimmy did. Listen to me.
Quick, Chief. Go into the bedroom and close the door.
What?
For heaven's sake, Chief. Hurry, Chief. Get into the bedroom.
But why?
Don't stop to ask questions. Just get into the bedroom and close the door. It's the only way I can solve this thing.
He wants to drive
All right.
too.
I'm going.
Listen to me, Mr. Kent. I'll tell you how to protect yourself against Mr. White. The only way to save yourself from him.
Pale and trembling, Perry White stumbles into the bedroom and slams the door behind him. What is Clark Kent going to do now? We'll return in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer.
Say, gang, you've probably heard the older folks talking about perpetual motion. You know, something that never stops moving. Well, one young fella told me the other day that he thinks these comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep are perpetual fun because you never stop having fun. No sooner do you add a new, different button to your collection than you're already on the lookout for another. And these buttons are so bright-colored and smart-looking that you're always proud to wear them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap so everybody can see how many you've collected. Take Smitty, for instance, in his blue suit and nifty bow tie. Or Superman himself, complete with red cape and Superman insignia. Yes, sir, these comic buttons are really honeys. You'll want all 18 of them, and you can get them, too. Easy as anything. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is to ask Mom to get you plenty of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, and look inside the package for your exclusive prize. Remember, that's P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg's, the greatest name in cereals. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
With a strange voice warning Clark Kent against Perry White, apparently coming from the Siamese cat in his lap, Clark Kent sent Editor White into the bedroom behind a closed door. Now, a few seconds later, as the voice still seems to come from the fawn-colored animal, Kent, carrying the cat, opens the bedroom door and summons the gray-haired editor back to the living room.
Chief, come on back in here.
There's only one way to save yourself, Mr. Kent. Get Perry White before he gets you.
What did you find out? I didn't find out anything yet.
Don't let him drive you mad and then get rid of you. Listen to me. Get rid of him first.
Good Godfrey. Can't understand it. I was sure it was you. Me? You mean you believe what the cat said about me getting rid of Lois and Jimmy? No, not that. No, the voice.
Get rid of Mr. White. You can find a way. Get rid of him.
Do you hear that? Wait a minute. What do you mean you thought the voice was me?
Get rid of him quick.
I didn't think the voice was you, but I was sure that you and Lois and Jimmy
Get rid of him tonight. You can do it.
Oh, I can't stand this. What about me and Lois and Jimmy? I can't understand. I can't see.
Tonight, when he's asleep, get rid of him.
Oh, this is terrible, terrible. Wait! Great Scott! What?
Remember, unless you get rid of him tonight, he'll get rid of you.
I've got it. Got what? The answer. What answer? The answer to this mystery. I know now what makes that cat talk.
Eagerly, Perry White hurries across the room to where Clark Kent stands holding the fawn-colored Siamese cat, his eyes blazing with excitement. Has he solved the mystery? If he has, we'll know what it is tomorrow. So be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for another thrilling episode of The Mystery of the Talking Cat in The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Say, gang, here's some razzle-dazzle news to flash to Mom. Kellogg's Variety is back. So now, everybody at the breakfast table can have the Kellogg's cereal he likes best. For Kellogg's Variety is that grand variety carton holding 10 generous packages of 6 favorite Kellogg's cereals. Are they delicious? And does Kellogg's Variety make breakfast fun? Why, it's better than a grab bag, because you get what you really want. Today, ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety, the package that makes breakfast a picnic. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System. Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up
up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, who is today convinced that he knows the answer to the mystery of the talking cat. But right now, let's hear what Dan McCullough has in store for us.
You know, fellas and girls, they tell me that it's almost like a birthday every time Mother opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep. Because not only do you know that you'll have some mighty swell eating, but you also get a brand new bright-colored comic button. It's an exclusive prize. Maybe it'll be a true-to-life picture of Uncle Walt from Gasoline Alley, all dressed up in a bright red sport shirt. Or maybe Lillums from Harold Teen in her smart-looking skating cap and sweater. Maybe Superman himself, his red cape flying in the wind. And if it's a duplicate, well, that's even more fun because you can trade with your pals and still add another new button to your collection. What's more, wearing these swell buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap is a real thrill. Everybody can see how many you've collected. So better get busy. See how soon that you can collect all 18 different buttons in the series. Just ask Mom to get you a package or two of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Isn't that easy? You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But a slick-looking comic button is your exclusive prize in every package of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
With editor Perry White on the verge of a nervous collapse, and Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen mysteriously missing after Lois's Siamese cat had seemingly talked to them in a human voice, Clark Kent suddenly revealed he was prepared to solve the baffling mystery. In the early hours before dawn, he brought Perry White and the cat to his apartment, and, as Kent predicted, a human voice was soon heard, coming apparently from the cat. For a moment, Kent was puzzled. Then, like a bolt out of the blue, the answer to the mystery occurred to him, and he said he knew what made the cat talk. As we continue now, Perry White hurries across the room to where Kent is standing with the fawn-colored cat in his arms. Listen.
Now, explain yourself, Kent. What do you mean you know what makes the cat talk? That's what I said, Chief. All right, you can get down now, Kitty. Come on.
What are you letting it go for?
We don't need it anymore. It has nothing whatever to do with the voice we heard.
Huh?
But you just said... I know what I said. But if I'd been holding an orange in my hands when we heard the voice, or that little statue on the mantel, you'd swear the orange or the statue would talk. Are you crazy? Well, I know it sounds crazy, but it's really quite simple, Chief. Very ingenious, but simple, like most clever tricks. Look. There's your answer.
What is? What answer?
My wristwatch.
Eh?
And your wristwatch.
My wristwatch?
Yes, and Lois's wristwatch, and Jimmy's wristwatch.
Will you kindly tell me what you are talking about, Kent?
Certainly. These watches the four of us received for Christmas are equipped with tiny radio receivers.
What?
Yes. I can see that yours and mine are, and I'll stake anything I own that Lois's and Jimmy's are, too.
What do you mean you can see that yours and mine are? I can't see anything of the kind.
Well,
they look like ordinary watches to me.
Well, I mean, that has to be the explanation. Look, Lois was in bed, and the cat was on the bed right near her when she thought it talked. All right, you were in bed, and the cat was next to your hand when you thought it talked. Jim was holding the cat in his lap when he thought it talked. And just now I was holding it in my arms. My wristwatch was only, an inch or two from the cat.
Oh, so that proves that our watches are radio receivers, does it? Of all the dumb, idiotic brainstorms anyone ever had, this one takes the cake.
Well, it's true, and
Not true, my foot. Whoever heard of a watch being equipped with a radio receiver?
Well, these are.
These are? I suppose they've got 6 tubes and condensers and loudspeakers and an automatic phonograph, too, eh?
All right. Now, wait a minute. I'll prove it to you. Give me your watch.
No. If I let a crackpot like you monkey around with it, it'll be ruined. Radio receiver.
Okay, I'll use mine. I just suggested yours because it was broken. Matter of fact, that was the tip-off.
What tip-off?
Well, I knew the cat couldn't really talk, and I'd made sure there were no hidden speaking devices in Lois's apartment, in Jim's house, and in your house, or in that deserted mansion on Myrtle Drive. Golly, this catch on the band seems to be stuck.
Something in your brain is stuck, too. Now, go on. You decided the cat couldn't talk, and there were no hidden speaking devices, so it had to be our wristwatches.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful reasoning. I don't think...
Well, now, wait a minute. I knew it had to be something you, Lois, and Jim wore or carried in common. But when I sent you into the bedroom tonight and the cat still seemed to talk in my lap, then I knew it had to be something I had in common with you three. And then I remembered the wristwatches the four of us got for Christmas. Wait a minute. It's coming. Ah, there we are. Yeah, now I can open the watch.
And it's too bad we can't open your head and let the hot air out. Now, look, Sherlock, even if you were right, have you forgotten that Mr. Grayson, the publisher of the Daily Planet, gave us these watches? Do you think Mr. Grayson would try to drive 4 of his employees out of their minds, make 2 of them disappear, and commit all the other hocus-pocus that's been going on?
Yeah, I know. That's been stumping me. As well as the
Oh, you admit something stumps you, eh?
I'm getting it. There we are. All right, now, look, Chief. You see? Now, that tiny compact unit in the upper half of the case is the watch movement.
What are those other little gadgets, wires and stuff, in the rest of the case?
That's the miniature radio receiver.
Who says so?
I do. I've seen some of the new radio developments that came out of the war. There, now, you see there? That's the speaker amplifier, that tiny valve-like gadget. The filament is attached to it.
You can see that without a microscope?
Of course I can. And furthermore...
Oh, you're crazy. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. One of those little glass thingamajigs fitted around the inside of the case.
Those?
Yeah, they look like glass beads.
They're radio tubes.
Radio tubes?
Mm-hmm.
And no, wait. Wait till I get my glasses on. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah. Now. They still look like glass beads and... No, I think they are radio tubes.
Of course they are. This little set must be tuned to a certain wavelength, undoubtedly a very high frequency, or the government monitors would have detected it. The voice you thought came from the cat, and Jim's voice, and Lois's voice, and all the other spooky voices you heard in the deserted house were transmitted over that wavelength and received by your wristwatch.
Good Godfrey. If that's true, Kent...
I'm sure it is, and I never noticed it. I just took for granted it was an ordinary watch.
But who? Why?
I don't know who. Yes.
We've got to find out where the transmitter is.
Exactly, but how?
There must be some way.
Well, if there is, I don't know it. I was sure that coupe that followed us here from your house had something to do with it, but
maybe it was the coupe. There might have been a transmitter in it.
No, there wasn't.
Well, how do you know?
Well, I just know.
Oh, nonsense. It was dark, and the car was traveling along behind us.
Well...
How could you see if there was a radio transmitter in it or not?
I'm just sure there wasn't. Anyhow, the car drove away from here before the cat talked.
So what? They could transmit from some other place, couldn't they? Now, look, Kent, I'll get Inspector Henderson on the phone. You describe the coupe to him.
I tell you, there was no transmitter in that coupe. And besides... Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
A hearse.
A what?
A black funeral hearse. 2 blocks over on Pine Street. It's speeding away.
A hearse? 2 blocks away?
What are you talking about? Remember the man who stopped Lois's taxicab the day she disappeared was driving a funeral hearse. A tall, thin man, the taxi driver said. This man is tall and thin. Great Scott, I wonder.
You wonder what? What tall man? Stop looking as if you were seeing through walls.
There's some queer things in that hearse. Can't quite make them out from here, but...
Oh, get that crazy look off your face, Kent. You're going to pieces again. Now, come on. Try to pull yourself together.
Don't you worry about me. Just keep your fingers crossed that I'm right about the hearse and that it leads me to Jimmy and Lois. I'll see you later, Chief.
Now, wait. Come back here. Where are you going?
Going after that hearse.
Now, what hearse? How can you see a hearse blocks away from inside this apartment?
Call it a gift. So long, Chief.
Come back here. You're out of your mind, Kent. Come back here, I said. Kent! Good Godfrey, he's as mad as a hatter. Kent! Come back here. Kent!
Frantically, Perry White shouts after Clark Kent, who has rushed from the apartment. Will the black funeral hearse lead him to Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane? We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer.
You know, gang, if someone should just hand you a full set of 18 different comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep all at once, why, that wouldn't be half so much fun as collecting them right along. Of course, you're always mighty proud to wear these slick-looking buttons on your jacket or your dress or cap, but you'd hate to miss the thrill of seeing which button is inside every time Mom opens a new package of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal. And you'd feel kind of out of it if you couldn't trade duplicates with your pals and sort of race with them to see who can collect the most different buttons. This way, every single button you get is a brand new prize, something to be mighty proud of. The colors are so clear and sharp, the pictures of your favorite funny paper characters so true to life that, well, it seems like getting pictures of your old friends. And you know what the best part is? These swell comic buttons are so easy to get. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. But every time Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep, there's your exclusive prize. Better get busy on your collection, gang. Ask Mom to get you plenty of P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg's, the greatest name in cereals. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Hoping that a black funeral hearse, driven by a tall, thin man, might lead him to the missing Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, Clark Kent rushed from his apartment and resumed his true identity of Superman. He is now streaking through the dark sky, high above the hearse which speeds along Metropolis Boulevard, almost fully deserted in this early morn before dawn.
Just as I thought. There is a radio transmitter in that hearse. That's where the cat's voice and all the other strange voices came from. Well, there's nobody in the hearse but the driver, so he must be Mr. Voice himself. Okay, I'll just follow him, and he ought to lead me to Lois and Jim. Hey, he's certainly kicking the speed laws around. Faster! Uh-oh. Swinging off toward the parkway. After him. Wow, look at him take that turn on 2 wheels. Lucky for him there's no traffic at this hour. Wait. He's going right through a red light. There comes another fast car from the side street. They're going to crash. Down to them. Down! Oh, too late. That hearse overturned. I've got to get that driver out. The driver of the other car doesn't look too badly hurt. It's a miracle. Wait a minute. Oh, here comes another car. A taxi.
Hey, what happened?
This hearse and that car piled up. Come on out here and give me a hand, will you?
Sure, you bet. Holy smokes, what a crash. Hey, who are you?
Never mind the questions now. I'll lift the hearse. You pull the driver out.
You what?
There we go.
Jeepers. You are lifting it. Holy smokes, that costume. You're Superman.
Yes. Now get him out, will you? Gently, though.
Okay.
Careful. Have you got him?
Yeah.
Easy with him. All right, I'll put him down. I'll stand the hearse up. There we are. How is he?
I don't know. He don't look too good to me.
Here, wait, step aside. Let me see, will you? Uh-oh.
He's done for, huh?
Yes. Now, how am I going to find Lois and Jimmy? How?
Worried, Superman gazes down at the still figure of the tall, thin driver of the strange funeral hearse. The man who he feels was his only clue to Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen's whereabouts. Tomorrow, as Superman battles what seems to be a hopeless predicament, we learn what happened to Jimmy and Lois. So don't fail to be with us then. There's plenty of excitement still to come, so tune in tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, for the mystery of the talking cat in The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow The Adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday. Same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Give a hip, hip hooray, gang. It's back. For you and me, now there's Kellogg's famous variety. That's the swell variety carton with 10 separate generous packages of Kellogg's cereals, including Kellogg's Pep, Rice Krispies, shredded wheat, corn flakes, crumbles, and 40% bran flakes. Each box in Kellogg's variety holds a fresh, crisp, heaping portion. Just help yourself to your favorite kind. Makes breakfast a picnic of fun. So ask Mom to get Kellogg's variety right away. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to a sunken city which lies with its fabulous treasure chests at the bottom of the sea, and to the lust for gold of a crew of men who were willing to die or to kill. As Gildow tells it in his exciting tale, Port Royal, The story suggested by Lieutenant Harry Reesberg's book, I Dive for Treasure.
Can't you get anything else on that radio?
I happen to like that particular number.
Well, like it somewheres else.
I just might do that.
Oh, no, Crystal, I didn't mean it. I guess I'm just jumpy tonight. Here, come on, have a drink.
Of that stuff? No thanks.
Well, pardon me, Lady Astorville. We're just fresh out of Napoleon brandy.
Huh, aren't we just?
Look, you got no beef coming. When I had it, you got it. The works.
And when you didn't have it, you took it from me. Hucked the diamonds, sold the mink.
Oh, you'll get them back. Something's got to turn up.
It should be you, dead.
Look, baby, don't do me no favors. The door's not locked, you know.
I know. And I think I'm going to walk through it right now.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
It's a break for you, Danny. Now you can keep the room single rate.
Where you going?
I think Benny can still find me a place in the line over at the Flamingo.
You wouldn't.
Just watch me.
All right, go on. Kick a guy when he's down. Walk all over him. I should have known you was that kind of broad.
You did.
Oh, let her go, the tramp. He's like the rest of the crumbums. When you're up, you're Danny Quinn, everybody's friend. When the horses don't run your way, you're nobody. Let her go. Hadn't always been like it was that night. And it would be different again. How soon, I wasn't sure when a fist landed on my door. A fist that was made from the hand that had jimmied some of the best windows in New York.
Hey, Danny, it's Carl.
It ain't locked. What's on your mind?
Hi, Danny. Hey, plenty. Where's the broth?
He took a powder.
Permanent?
Looks like.
Oh, well, you're better off.
Maybe.
Hey, look, I picked up something pretty good tonight, I think.
I'm not in the market.
Oh, now, look, Danny, this don't mean a thing to you till I get through talking. Now, listen to me, will you? Now, this could be worth anywhere to a couple of $1 million.
Look, Carl, get off it. Whatever it is, get off of it.
All right. Now, you probably never heard of a guy named Fletcher Travis, because you never get past the page with the race results. See what I mean? Me, I'm different. I chase this town through the papers. I keep myself up on what's going on in town and who's in town and how I can get to it. Now, look, this Travis made himself a lot of dough breaking into sunken boats. You understand? He's what you call a deep sea diver.
Yeah.
All right, you was a sailor once. You ought to know.
Let me see that thing.
Yeah, sure. So, I read up what he was up to, and then this afternoon I went to the place where he's giving a talk, see? Now, there's a sunken city down there, Jamaica. The island, not the track. And they call it Port Royal. There's warehouses down there with gold by the ton. Travis was all ready with a boat to go down after it, leaving tomorrow.
You believe all that?
Well, sure I do. Anyway, he holds up this chart and says, "This is the pass key to get him in," or something like that. So I tail him back to the hotel, I make his room number, and go in while he's eating his dinner. Well, he's got a lot of books there, history books. It's all true, Danny. I ain't kidding you. Now, this is a place for them old pirates. So, anyways, an earthquake or something spilled into the water. You understand what I mean? All in one piece, intact. And that stuff is there. Now, we got this chart. That's the key.
What do we do, frame it?
Look, you was in the Merchant Marine, wasn't you? So you head it up. Now, I got a fur shop staked out that'll get us the first money. And we buy a boat, get ourselves a diver of our own, and we go after this haul ourselves.
You know, you got something, Carl. Hey, behind you in the dresser, top drawer. See if my Siemens papers are there.
Okay, Danny, okay. Where are they? I don't see them.
Right in the back.
Huh?
There! Oh. You little jerk. There's a difference between being a gambler and a second story man. I know what to do with that old chart if there was anything to it. Or what I would do would be legal. I left Carl to wake up by himself and read the stories about his job in the late finals. They printed enough to make me pretty sure that the dope on this sunken city, Port Royal, was on the level. Millions. So after the police cleared out of his hotel, I went calling on Fletcher Travis.
Who is it?
My name's Danny Quinn, and I got something that belongs to you.
Danny Quinn?
Yeah, that's right. I was with some friends slumming in the Bowery. I read about you in the papers, and when I heard this guy talking about you and a chart he just stolen, well, there it is.
Well, come in. Well, I can hardly believe it. Well, this chart
Yeah. I heard from this guy. Sounded pretty important. I caught up with the guy on the way out and roughed him up a little.
Well, I don't know how to thank you. This chart
Wait a minute. Look, it's easy to thank me. I want to cut in on this deal. I want to go with you on the trip.
You go with us?
Well, sure, it's in the cards. I told you, I read about you in the papers. I was interested then. Now this happens like fate. I run into the chance to get this chart back to you. Look, I'm important to you. Very important.
Well, I realize what I owe you, but salvage...
Look, I got the answer to that one, too. I was in the Merchant Marine. I'm a real deep-water sailor. I can't swim. Now, could you have made it without me, Travis?
No. I guess I couldn't.
It was quite a feeling heading out into the big Atlantic swell. The rigging sang. The deck beneath me took an angle to port, and it rose and fell. For a second, my imagination took a turn. I got a picture of Danny Quinn standing on another deck, wearing earrings and a cutlass or two and a brace of pistols in his belt. Danny Quinn sailing out after a pirate treasure.
I thought it would be a good idea if we all got together tonight, gentlemen, since according to Captain Matson's estimate, it will be over Port Royal early tomorrow morning. You're still holding to that, Captain?
The barometer hasn't lied to me yet, Mr. Travis. Tells me this weather's holding. That means we should drop anchor an hour or maybe two after dawn.
Good. Then it's time to look at the chart that Danny recovered for us. There. The city of Port Royal, submerged. After a geodetic survey made by the British Navy, 1826. Now, look here. See the sudden jump in fathoms along this line, right here?
Yeah, I see. It's shallow here and deeper here.
Yeah, that's right. It's a fault line that buckled when the city was destroyed by earthquake. This section sank and this section lifted. Now, see here? A point of reef, rock or coral that shows awash during low water.
Yeah.
Well, I've oriented this chart with the old maps of Port Royal before its destruction. Now, that point of reef is no more than 90 feet from the edge of the warehouse section. That's right out here.
Are you sure of that?
Well, sure as I can be.
What made me pick that night to go to the Bowery?
You couldn't ask for a better landmark.
Well, no, it's more than a landmark, Captain. It's a mooring. We get a bow hawser on the reef point, back off 90 feet, drop the stern hook, and we're anchored right over the front doors of those treasure houses, 30 fathoms down.
Gambled for a living as many years as I have, you develop a set of nerves that do pretty much what you tell them. But when I realized what that old chart meant and how close we were to all that loot, my poker face flew right out the porthole. You made jokes about Fort Knox and the Vanderbilts. We slapped backs, had a round or two, and then we hit our bunks. But I'll lay you 10-1 that all of us did our dreaming wide awake. I know I did. Millions of dollars. 30 fathoms under our keel. We were like men in a daze when we set about our work the next morning, but it went the way it should. The point of reef was there at low water. The ship was secured to it, backed off, and anchored. The lifting gear was rigged to the mainmast. The pump and compressor were checked a dozen times. Travis got into his heavy canvas suit. The helmet went over his head. Little afternoon, he begun his first dive. I was on the intercom on deck.
What's my depth now?
Hold on, I'll get it. He wants his depth, Captain.
Here comes 25 fathoms. Now.
You're at 25 fathoms, Travis.
Good. It'll be safe to go down at this speed. No faster.
The speed is okay, Captain. No faster.
All right.
How is it, Travis?
Good. Conditions are good. There's enough light. Great blue light. No sign of any trouble. My air is adequate. No sign of any large fish as yet.
Travis.
Yes? What is it?
You make me nervous when you aren't talking. Keep saying things, will you? What do you see?
I can't look down and turn my head. I see only what's in front of my faceplate. Well, I'm revolving slowly as I come down. Water's clear. All around me is that very blue light. Few fish. Nothing large enough to be dangerous yet. conditions are as good. What's my depth now?
He wants his depth.
It's 28 fathoms now.
28, Travis.
Slow my descent. Slow it.
Slow his descent.
Right.
I can see coral now. There's great formations of it stretching away from me.
Buildings? The warehouses?
Yes. Yes, buildings. Roofs. Windows. There's a street. Yeah. Must be a street in front of me. There's storehouses.
He's hit it. Storehouses.
We've hit it. Do you hear that, mate? Hey, I hear it. We've hit it.
I'm on the bottom. On the bottom. All right. It's sand. It's good footing. I'm moving forward. Now, I'll need plenty of slack in both my lines.
He needs slack.
He's getting it. The winch is rolling.
No trouble yet. Moving toward the nearest one. It's encrusted with coral. It's a building. Big one. There's a wide opening. That lets enough light in. There, it's a storehouse. I need the loading platform.
He wants a loading platform.
What?
The loading platform, you jerk! We were too busy on deck for a while to really digest what was happening. Even after the loading platform broke through the surface and we saw the single rotting chest on it, it was too much like a scene in a B movie to believe. Then we pried it open. Lying in rows were small leather bags covered with a slimy coral crust. We took one out. It crumbled, and from it maybe 50 metal coins spilled onto the deck. They were dirty brown, but when they were scratched, bright, clean gold showed through. By the time Travis was aboard and out of his suit, the first shock of success had passed, and we were calm enough to have a drink.
Well, Mr. Travis, sit down and rest. You are the hero of the day. I got you here, but you load on the gold, huh?
Yeah. Here's a drink, Travis. You've earned it.
Thanks. I can use it. Well, what do you think of your first day of salvage operation?
Brother, I've won some pots in my day, but when those coins rolled out, that topped everything.
I think we're off to a good start. How many more chests are down there?
Oh, I don't know yet. I only moved 10 or 15 feet into the building. I saw 3 or 4 more.
Yeah. What do you think they bring back in the States?
Well, if they're all like this one, $35,000, $40,000 apiece.
Yeah, we've hit it all right. How many trips down can you make?
In this weather, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. That gives me about, 12 minutes on the bottom each descent.
35 or 40,000 a dive. Hey, that's going to add up.
No, don't spend it yet, Danny. It may turn into more than just going down and coming up. Things can happen down there. This is the first time I've worked buildings, and I know that sunken hulls can lie there for a couple of 3 centuries without moving, even in the current. But let a diver put his foot in the wrong plank and something on the other end of the ship gives way. You never know. So let's count what we got today and see if our luck holds tomorrow.
Our luck did hold, not only the next morning and afternoon, but the day after and the 2 days after that. 1 chest per dive, 4 dives per day. An average of $140,000 worth of loot a day came off the bottom. We had $560,000 in the hold. I don't know, when the thought first nibbled at me, I tried to blame it on the idea that I didn't trust Captain Matson. But that wasn't it. Travis had planted it himself when he reminded me that you never knew what to expect 30 fathoms below. The rest of it was based on the fact that any hunk of dough looks 3 times smaller, but it's split 3 ways.
In just a moment, we will return you to the second act of Escape. But first, this Saturday night, CBS's Gangbusters program brings you the case of the boiled booster. Not rooster, booster. The case of the boiled booster. And since Gangbusters does only authentic police cases, who are we to question the title? Well, somebody did ask a question, and it's a case straight out of the New York City police files. And a house gets lost, among other things. Gangbusters is heard every Saturday on most of these same CBS stations. So be listening for the case of the boiled booster this Saturday. And now we return you to Escape.
Went on like that day after day. Those chests coming up until there was enough treasure aboard that schooner to drive any man half out of his head. We were isolated out there. The island, Jamaica, was just a blur off our bow. The only ships we saw were cruise liners way out on the horizon. The more I thought about it, the stronger my hunch got. The way my luck was running, I could work it out so there wouldn't have to be a three-way split of those chests. Travis was easy. He'd just stay down there. Captain Matson and McGraw, the mate, well, they took a little more thought. But with that fortune at stake, what else was there to think about?
Danny. Hey, Danny, you deaf? Hey, Danny.
Huh? Oh, yeah, Skipper, what'll it be?
You and your dreaming, Danny. Sometimes it's not so good to spend so much time in the future. Come on, give us a hand. Another chest is coming up.
Another chest? You know this thing could go too far. Well, another day, another $140,000.
Gentlemen, I think tomorrow's the last one.
Yes, I was going to ask how long. My food stores are running short.
Well, I've had to move as far into that building as I want to move. That roof I've been working under is heavy with coral growth, and it's not held by nails anymore. They're gone. It's held by balance, and I don't want to upset it.
I don't blame you, Travis. Tell me, what do you say we got in the hold now?
Well over 900,000. There haven't been many salvage operations that have topped that.
Over 300,000 apiece, huh? Yeah, those are good wages. Why bother with another dive?
Hey, Skipper, don't get so rich that you turn up your nose at a few $100,000. Travis wants to give it another try, more power to him.
That's up to him.
Well, to be honest with you, I've had enough of it. I'm going to be dreaming about those sagging walls and that blue light for weeks to come, and I hate to push my luck too far. Well, I'll make one more descent in the morning, and then I think we should start back.
I think so, too.
Danny?
Well, you're the boss, Travis. That's good enough for me. That was after evening chow. I stretched out in my cabin, but I didn't sleep. I lay awake planning. I was still awake when the mate came off watch.
Hey, Johnny. Wake up. Come on. It's midnight.
Oh, thanks, McGraw. You can turn in.
Yeah. Here, keys are on the table.
There were 3 keys on that ring we anchor watches carried every night. One to the gear locker in case we needed tools. One to the lamp locker in case we needed a light. And a third had been added when the treasure started to pile up. It opened the gun locker. Outside on the deck, I leaned my elbows on the rail, watched the phosphorescence rippling back from the side of the boat, and lined up the next detail. The gun locker had been equipped to take care of any possible attack, so it was an arsenal. What I needed was a Thompson submachine gun. But I wasn't about to overplay my hand by taking it out of the locker. Somebody would have noticed that. I just slipped in and unlocked the case so I could get it when the time came. I didn't think anybody'd notice that, and I was right.
What's my depth now, Danny?
Hold on. He wants his depth, Skipper.
Here's 19 fathoms. Now.
19, Travis.
Hey, look, my air is inadequate for the speed of my descent. Tell him to slow me down or increase my air pressure.
Check. He says slow him down or give him some more air pressure, Skipper.
We'll slow him down.
You're slowing down, Travis.
Thanks, Danny. I guess everybody topside is in as big a hurry as I am to get away from this place.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, as long as I've been diving, I've never been able to control my imagination. After so many descents, I always start telling myself, Travis, that should be the last one. You've had no trouble. From now on, the law of averages working against you.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
Yeah, the more easy descents I make, the less I want to make the next one. Yeah, my air is adequate now. I'm getting plenty.
I had a crazy flash thought that Travis knew what I was up to and had something up his sleeve. I got rid of it. He couldn't have known. If he had, he wouldn't have gone down. Hardly heard him talking. With him submerged, it was time for me to get into action. It was 5 steps to the door that would take me to the gun locker. With the Thompson, I'd force Matson, the rest of the fellas into their cabins. Then the chest would go into the lifeboat. And the stern anchor line we cut, the ship pulled into that reef point it was moored to, and the coral would rip the bottom out of it. The only thing left would be the lifeboat full of loot, with me in it. I didn't see how any court any place could prove it wasn't an accident. I took the intercom set off my head. Matson and the mate had their heads together near the winch.
Danny, where you going?
In to get a drink of water.
Don't do it, Danny. Stay where you are.
Hey, what the devil's the matter with you? What's the gun for? I haven't done anything.
The gun is so you won't do anything. McGraw! That's it. Cut the winch. Time to move. Get below and open the valves. I'll take care of Danny.
Oh, no, you won't.
Danny! Come out on deck, Danny. Take it easy. You play along, maybe you'll get out of this. You coming out, Danny?
What's the game?
The partnership was too big, Danny. I told you you'd dream too much.
What? You and McGraw?
Take it easy, Danny. Come on out or you go down with the ship anyway. Come on, maybe we deal you in.
All right, Skipper. I'll play along with you.
That's right, Danny. Use your head.
Sure. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing! My head!
I want to talk to you.
Where are you, McGraw?
I'm behind cover. Now listen to me. I want you to know that this was none of my idea. The captain made the plan and forced me into it. Now he's gone. I'll side in with you and Travis.
Sure.
Fortune like this has driven guys crazy before, but let you and me hang on to our senses. All the valves are open below decks. The ship's going down. Let's get the treasure into the lifeboat while we got time.
All right, McGraw. Let me hear you toss your gun on the deck, and I'll know you're leveling with me.
Sure, Danny. There it is.
I'm in the main passageway. Come on.
I swear I'm telling you the truth, Danny. He forced me into this. But you and Trap... Danny! Now, don't!
I got plans of my own for this stuff, McGraw, and you aren't in them. Nobody is.
Danny!
Maybe he was right. Maybe that treasure was driving me crazy. It was like I was rushing downhill and couldn't stop, just like I didn't seem able to stop the tunnel after I started... After McGraw was gone, I went over to the main hold and tore the canvas off the hatch. I could hear the water rushing through the valves he'd opened, and it was telling me I'd have to hurry if I wanted to get those chests. I went over to the lifeboat hanging in its davits. No. That's when my luck, my plans, my dreams, everything was blasted. The lifeboat. It was ripped and useless. I'd gone crazy with that submachine gun. It was peppered with bullet holes. One blasted. Cut out one of the lines. It had crashed to the deck and smashed the bow. It wouldn't have stayed afloat empty. $900,000 aboard, and there was no way to save it. The schooner had already started the list. I had to think of saving myself. Travis, are you all right?
I'm all right.
There's been trouble up here.
Yes, I know.
Matson and McGraw tried to pirate the treasure. I managed to stop them. But they've scuttled the ship.
He's taking water?
Yeah, how fast can you come up? You've been down there a little over 20 minutes.
Raise me at regular speed, then. Never mind tending my lines. Get the winch moving, and then get below. See what can be done about stopping the water.
Okay, Travis. I'll be glad to get you up here. We're in a mess, believe me. I did what he told me. I went below. But it didn't take long to see there was nothing to do down there the way the water was pouring in. I spent my time working out a story for Travis that would save my hide and give me another chance at that treasure. It took 30 minutes to get him aboard and out of his suit. By that time, the schooner was starting to settle by the stern.
There's no time to talk about it now, Danny. I can see you had plenty of trouble.
Well, there wasn't much I could do but kill him.
Naturally, Danny.
All those chests going back to the bottom. How can you tell about guys like Matson and McGraw?
I don't know, Danny. Treasure hunting does strange things to people.
Well, we're coming back after it, aren't we? I can raise some more dough. We aren't giving up, are we?
I'm coming back, Danny. But you aren't.
What's that supposed to mean?
You left the intercom system open. I heard what you told McGraw before you killed him about your plans.
That's too bad, Travis.
Oh, no. Don't try it, Danny. Guns won't help you now. The lifeboat's gone. You're the sailor who can't swim, remember? You'd never make it by yourself, but I can get you ashore. And once I do, I've got to turn you in. So, you've got a choice. Come with me, or stay with the ship. Your choice, Danny. Don't be too slow in deciding.
I went with him. Hanging on to what was left of the lifeboat, we watched the rest of it from 50 yards away. Looked like the schooner just got tired of fighting the water. She lifted her bow like for a last look around and rolled over and went out of sight. $900,000. But that wasn't the only fortune that was sinking. Danny Quinn's was on the way down, too. I was fresh out of luck.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Port Royal by Gil Dowd, suggested by Lieutenant Harry Reesberg's book, I Dive for Treasure. Featured in the cast were Charles McGraw as Danny Quinn, John Daner as Fletcher Travis, and Bill Conrad as Captain Matson. Also heard were Dee Tatum, Paul Frees, and Ted DeCorsia. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week...
You are imprisoned in a lonely lighthouse off the steaming jungle coastline of French Guiana. Your comrades, a maniac and a coward. Your captors, an army of gigantic, hunger-maddened rats.
Next week, in response to many hundreds of requests, we will again present one of the most unforgettable and terrifying of all escape stories, Three Skeleton Key. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Through field workers stationed with our troops in this country and across the world, the American Red Cross helps the lonely soldier, the Marine anxious about his sick wife at home, the sailor with a dying mother 3,000 miles away. Last year, more than 750,000 men in service were helped in family, welfare, and recreational problems by American Red Cross workers. Give to the Red Cross workers. Give to the Red Cross generously this month. This is CBS, where you meet Gene Autry every Saturday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to a lonely lighthouse off the steaming jungle coast of French Guiana and a nightmare world of terror and violence as we bring you again, in response to hundreds of requests, Three Skeleton Key, starring Vincent Price.
picture this place. A gray tapering cylinder welded by iron rods and concrete to the key itself. A bare black rock, 150 feet long, maybe 40 wide. That's at low tide. At high tide, just the lighthouse, rising 110 feet straight up out of the ocean. And all about it, the churning water, gray-green, scum-dappled, warm as soup, and swarming with gigantic bat-like devilfish, great violet schools of Portuguese man-o'-war, and yes, sharks, the big ones, the 15-footers. And as if this weren't enough, there was a hot, dank, rotten-smelling wind that came at us day and night off the jungle swamps of the mainland. A wind that smelled like death. A wind that had smelled the slow and frightful death that came one night to this bare black rock. Set in the base of the light was a watertight bronze door, and in you went. And up. Yes, up and round and round, past the tanks of oil and the coils of rope, casks of wicks, racks of lanterns, sacks of spuds and cartons and cans, and up, round and round. Over the light storeroom was the food storeroom, and over the food storeroom was the bunk room where the three of us slept. And over the bunk room was the living and cooking room, and over the living and cooking room was the light. She was a beauty, big steel and bronze baby with the sun gleaming through the glass walls all about, bouncing blinding little beams off the big shining reflectors, glittering and refracting through her lenses, the whole gigantic bulk of her balanced like a ballerina on the glistening steel axle of her rotary mechanism. She was a sweetheart of a light. And at night you'd lie there on the stone deck of the gallery with her revolving smoothly and quietly over your head, easing her bright white eye 360 degrees around the horizon. You'd lie there watching to see that the feeders kept working, that everything ran right. And it wouldn't be bad, the other two fellows snoring in their sacks 2 levels down. You'd smoke your pipe to kill the stink of the wind, and it wouldn't be bad. About those other two, Louis and Auguste. What a pair. Louis, he was head man, was a big fellow from the Basque country, black beard, little hard black eyes, and a pair of arms that I tell you, those arms were as big around as my legs. Yes, head man he was, and what word he let go was law. A silent fellow, and although I spent my first 2 weeks trying to strike up a real conversation, the most I could ever get out of him was...
John, I took up this profession because I don't like people. They want to talk too much. It's quiet work, light tending. Let's keep it that way. You're getting to be as bad as Auguste. I thought maybe for once they'd send me somebody who...
That was Louis. When he accused me of becoming like Auguste, I quieted down, because Auguste was the talkingest man I'd ever met. The talkingest and the ugliest. He was hunchbacked, stood 4 feet high, had red hair and big blue eyes. It seems he'd been an actor in Paris.
Yes, indeed. Played in over 200 different productions, dear boy, at the Grand Guignol. Oh, but it was monstrous horrible, the way we used to scare the audiences. I was hated. Yes, they used to throw things and hiss and bare their teeth at me. Finally, it got too bad. I couldn't stand it any longer. I gave up the theater. My nerves, you understand. Yes, gave it up completely. I really did. Couldn't stand it any longer.
It all started one morning at 2:30. I was on watch, lying on the cool stone deck, pulling on my pipe, staring out at the blackness, the phosphorescent combers, and the big yellow stars, when out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something show up for a second, something the light had touched, far off. I waited for her to come around again, and when she did, there it was. Three-master, a big one, about a half-mile off, and coming down out of the north-northwest, coming straight for us. You must understand, our light was where it was for a very good reason. Dangerous submerged reefs surrounded us, and ships kept clear. But this one, this sailing vessel, was coming straight on. I went over to the gallery door and yelled, "Louis! Louis!" Couldn't understand it. I waited for the light to come around again.
What is it? Ship headed for the reef. Hurry right up.
I had the glasses out now. I couldn't read her name, but I could see her quite plainly. All sails set, the foam creaming away under her bow, her beautiful lines. A Dutch ship, I guessed her. But why didn't she turn? Every time it passed, our light hit her with the glare of day.
Ship? Where?
Northwest. The light will touch her in a moment.
Can't they see?
Look at her. She just keeps coming on.
Yeah, the squareheads.
What is it? What is it?
Watch northwest.
I know what it is.
Huh? What?
The Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman. We did a play about her once. Oh, what a performance. You ghastly galleon, hag-ridden, curse-driven, must on.
Shut up, will you? She's luffing.
Yes.
Sloppy way to come about. She's derelict, that's it.
Derelict?
Abandoned. The crew left her for some reason or other. But instead of sinking, she's gone on, running before every wind.
She'll not run long. Not with these reefs to break her up.
A beautiful ship. Now, why would men leave a beautiful ship like that?
She didn't ram us, although we all expected it. But as we waited for the crash, she luffed again, caught some odd gust, and went about. We watched her the rest of those black hours, heeling and rocking, pushed and pulled by every stray wind, every freak current. Watched her until the dawn came, till the sea turned from black to a pearly gray. And on she came again, heading for us. We all had our glasses trained on her now.
August, you can kill the light.
Right, Chief?
She doesn't look so good by daylight. Think she'll ground this time?
What?
I say, do you think she'll ground this time?
Huh? This is impossible. Absolutely impossible.
What?
Here, take my glasses. They're better than yours.
All right. And what is it you're... I had to focus, and then my breath froze in my throat. The decks were swarming with a dark brown carpet that looked like a gigantic fungus, but undulating. And on the masts and yards, the guys and all were hundreds, no thousands, no I don't know, an endless number of enormous rats.
See them?
Yes, I see them.
Now we know why she's derelict.
Yes, now we know.
What are you two doing? Here, give me a look.
Yes, give him the glasses. Take a good look, chatterbox. Give you something to talk about.
She's still heading for us.
Yes.
She's going to turn. She better turn soon.
Suppose she doesn't.
You mean suppose she piles up on the quay?
It's low tide.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Where's all the conversation, August, huh? Here, want the glasses again? Want another look?
No.
She's still coming on.
Go away! Go away!
Turn! Will you turn, I say, I pray you? Turn!
She's climbing up. The rats. Look, on the water. Like a carpet.
They're swimming.
Sure, they're swimming. Those are ship's rats.
But they're swimming for the rocks.
The door below. It's open.
Come on. Down we went, racing down the stone stairs, taking them 3 and 4 at a time. Scared? You bet we were scared.
August, you get the windows. Maybe they can climb. We don't know.
Right, Chief. But hurry.
Look. See them?
No. Oh, yes, I do. Up at the other end of the rock.
Look at them.
Millions.
They smell us. Here they come. Close the door.
Can't.
Here. Let me.
Oh, move. You move.
Heave.
Made it.
Holy. That was close.
One guy in. Look, there.
Get him!
He was as big as a ton bigger. His eyes were wild and red, his teeth long and sharp and yellow. He went for us, starving, ravenous, and we fought him, fought that one rat all over the room. It was, oh, believe me, I do not exaggerate, it was like fighting a panther. Got him. We better get aloft. We ran up the winding staircase. We passed the tiny windows at the various levels, and at every one was a thick, wriggling, screaming curtain of brown fur. I was ahead of Louis, and I dreaded each successive level. Suppose they had found a way in.
Look at them. Will you look at them?
It's a nightmare.
Will you look at them?
The air of the gallery was thick and fetid with the stink of them. The light was dim, brown, filtered through the crawling mass that swarmed over the glass all about. I could not see the sky. Nothing but them. Their red eyes, their claws, their wriggling, hairy snouts, their teeth. The rats. They screamed and howled and threw themselves against the glass. They were starving. And we three, we stood very quiet. Oh, very quietly in the center of the classroom under our beautiful light. And we waited.
What do we do? What do we do?
Take it easy, old man. Take it easy. It won't do any good to stand here and shake.
Yeah, that's right. Anybody want a cigarette?
Yes, I have one, thank you.
Good boy. We've got to keep calm about this thing. Here's a light.
Yeah, they don't light the fire, do they?
Guess not.
Give me another match. You don't like that much, do you?
Don't rile them, August.
Give me two more matches. I'll strike them and strike them and strike them until they get scared and go away.
They won't go away. Not until...
Innocent. Not until what?
Not until they've been fed.
You can take just so much horror, and then you get used to it. And they were interesting to watch, you know. They couldn't understand the glass. They could see us, and they could rush at us, but that thin, invisible barrier held them off, stopped them. From time to time, we caught a glimpse of the rocks below. More rats down there, swarming brown velvet in the bright tropical sunlight. And then the tide began to rise. If only it had drowned some of them.
Ship's rats don't drown. No, sir, you cannot drown one of them. They're all climbing up the tower.
This bunch around us is getting thicker.
Yeah. Hey, what's the time?
6:15.
You've got first watch, John.
Right.
Wake me at 10.
I will.
Come along, August.
It was getting dark. One side of the room was lit a soft, filtered red. Sunset through the rats. Oh, very pretty. I set the wicks, checked my fuel, and then lit the lamp. It caught them. Lit them in their gigantic wriggling web of pale, hairless bellies, twitching red tails, bright eyes. Then I started the rotary motor. The light drove them mad as she swung slowly and smoothly about. She blinded them in the fierce, stabbing bar of light, moving continually about at a turning, at a touching, of a moving around and around, and they twitching and shuddering, eyes flaming when they were struck by the light. Bright light moving, and behind on the dark side of the room, so close, I dared not turn my back, but you cannot help turning your back when you're in a room made of glass. On the dark side of the room, you could not see them, but only their eyes. Thousands of points of blank red light, blinking and twinkling like the stars of hell. Louis relieved me at 10, but I didn't get much sleep that night, and when I came up into the gallery early next morning, There stood August, his back to me. He was bowing to the rats, waving his arms and making a speech.
I am going to play once again that magnificent role which made me the toast of the Paris Theatre. Prelate, the evil genius of the medieval underworld. I am he who did guide the dark soul of the Marechal into the nether path. Do not be frightened, little children. I will not hurt you.
I stood staring at him, horror-struck, but he didn't notice me. The man had gone mad. He kept turning, telling his stories to all the rats, leaving no one out. August! August!
Ah, another one. A latecomer. Take a seat on the aisle, dear patron.
August,
move
stop
over
it,
there.
stop it.
Let the gentleman be
But he
speaking.
didn't
Come,
stop.
come.
He went on, bowing and scraping to the rats, his big blue eyes rolling and winking, his wild red hair waving about him. I grabbed him by the arm, slapped his face. He looked at me like a child. And then his face screwed up. He looked as though he were about to cry. Go below, go on.
Oh, very well, then. Later, my dear audience, later. Matinee today.
Sure, he was crazy. But I guess we all were. A few hours later, he came back up and caught Louie and me teasing the rats. Yes, sounds horrible. It was fun. We could get right up against the glass and make faces at them. It drove them crazy. They would scratch away trying to get at our eyes. Louis was even cuter about it. He'd pull a piece of bread out of his pocket and press it against the glass. The rats would scramble into a solid ball, biting each other, clustering like grapes. From time to time, a whole knot of them would slip and fall 110 feet to the surf below.
Look at the sharks.
They're eating them.
The sharks are our friends. Here, I'll get another bunch together. Here, my beauties. That's it. Pile of kill each other. There they go.
Auguste joined in, too. Oh, very ingenious Auguste. He learned that if he spread-eagled himself against the glass, they'd bunch and bundle against his figure. Then he'd leap back.
Look! My portrait in rats.
It went on all day. And then I was lying in bed. It was about midnight. I was very tired, and I was just beginning to fall off to sleep when I became conscious of a new sound. Couldn't figure it at first. I got up, lit the lamp, and went to the window. Even as I looked at it, I saw one of the panes begin to sag in. They had eaten the wood away. Louis, come quick!
What is it?
They found a way in. I held the glass with my hand. Now they were all going crazy, and assured of the success of this maneuver, were all nibbling away at the wood. Louis ran below and then returned with a large sheet of tin. We spread it against the window and hammered it into place. Even as we did so, we felt the heavy body thudding against the other side as the window gave way.
That ought to hold. If it doesn't, we're done for.
Rats can't eat tin.
No, they can't. So what was that?
I don't know.
It came from below.
The storeroom window.
They're in. They're swarming up the stairs.
Drop the trap.
Right.
Two of them got in.
Let's go after them.
We didn't have to go after them. They came at us. I leaped to one side and grabbed a marlin spike, swung, and smashed one in midair.
No!
I whirled to see Louis with the other. It had ripped his hand open, and the blood was pouring all over the place. He held his hand aloft and kicked at the snarling rat. I stepped and swung and got him.
My hand! He got my hand!
That's both of them, Louis. I'll get you something to tie that up.
Blood! Look at it! My blood! I'm bleeding!
Now, don't worry about it, Louis. Here, look. I'll wind this kerchief around it. It'll be okay.
Blood!
There, now. It's not bad, just the flesh. Then I became conscious of another new sound. They were gnawing their way through the wooden trap door. I watched the wood fascinated. Even as I did, it began to give way, and a bristling, whiskery nose showed through. Louis, we got to go up. The next level was the middle quarters. We took and I slammed the trapdoor there, too. But it, too, was wood.
My blood. What are we going to do?
I don't know. We'll be through this one in a moment.
The gallery. The trapdoor in the gallery is metal.
Good. Come on. We made it. We lay across the trapdoor exhausted, while below us the rats took over the entire tower. I could hear them howling and fighting over our food supply, our water, our leather. And all about us, the others screamed and glared in at us, swayed in a tangled mass, hypnotized by the ever-turning light. By morning, the air in the little room was horrible. Until now, we'd been getting air from the tower below. Now that was sealed off, and so was all our food and water. We lay exhausted, panting, waiting. And the hours crawled on. I was almost dozing from fatigue when I saw a sight that brought me too fast.
Would you like to come in, my beauty? Would you? I hold the powers of life and death, and I can let you in, you know.
August was standing by the glass, and in one hand he held a wrench. He was tapping the glass gently, not quite hard enough to break it. I eased myself to my feet and slowly, very slowly, tiptoed toward him.
All I have to do is tap just a little harder.
I found a coil of wire in the toolkit, and I trussed him up, fastened him to a stanchion in the center of the room. Louis was of no help. He lay on his side, looking at his bloody hand, weak and sick as a baby. So there I was, a lunatic and a coward for company, and all about watching our little drama, the rat. The day dragged by. The supply boat wasn't due for another 12 days. I don't know what they could have done if they had come. We had only one way of summoning them, and that was to shoot off distress rockets, but the rockets were 4 floors below. And even if they'd been right there in the gallery, I couldn't have opened a window to fire them. That night, I tended the light, but its flame was devouring our oxygen. The following day, we lay, thirst-tormented, starving, waiting, and the following night, I again tended the light, but the small supply of spare wicking we kept in the gallery had become exhausted, and quite suddenly, about midnight, the light went out. There's nothing I could do. Wicks were stored 3 levels below. Nothing I could do. Nothing. From time to time, I'd strike a match to see the clock. When I did, it lit up the million red eyes about us. All about us. Watching. Waiting. Below, it had grown quiet. They'd cleaned us out, and now they, too, were waiting. All waiting. And then the rats, quite suddenly, were silent. And then I heard it. And then I saw the sky and the stars. The rats were gone. I went to the glass. Out there on the water, a small freighter, a banana boat, showing a few lights, came softly and innocently at us. The light was out. They didn't know. I wanted to open the windows, to call out to them, to warn them somehow, but I was afraid. What if the rats were hiding from me, tricking me? So I waited. She grounded very softly on a reef not 200 yards from the quay. Grounded so gently that the man playing the cornet, was he a passenger or crewman off watch, didn't even stop playing. They tried washing her back off. I could have told them to save their fuel. The tide was rising, would have floated her free. And I waited. That's all. That's the story. The sun came up and there wasn't a rat on the whole key. Every last one of that terrible army had left us, gone back to sea on their new ship. August, insane asylum, he never recovered. And Louis, they took him into Cayenne where he died of blood poisoning from his bite. Oh, yes. Well, that's the whole of it. And if you'll excuse me now, I must go set my traps. No mouse traps. No rats in this lighthouse, I should say not. Life in the lights isn't bad, but sometimes when I see a strange vessel approaching, I get a little nervous, sure. Somewhere on the seas, there's a little banana boat without a crew. That is, without a human crew.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Three Skeleton Key by George Tadouz, adapted for radio by James Poe and starring Vincent Price as Jean. Supporting Mr. Price were Harry Bartell as August and Jeff Corey as Louis. Sound effects on Three Skeleton Key, created by Cliff Thorsness and executed today by Mr. Thorsness, Gus Bays, and Jack Sixsmith, have been awarded the Best of the Year by Radio and Television Life magazine. Harry Essman was at the control panel, and special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week...
You are swimming for your life in the dangerous waters off the Florida Gulf Coast, about to be smashed by a launch carrying a vicious criminal who must kill you or die himself. And on shore, 500 yards away, the police are waiting to arrest you for murder. And there can be no escape.
Next week, we escape with an exciting tale of temptation and death on the Gulf Coast of Florida, as John and Gwen Bagney tell it in Danger at Matacumba. Goodbye, then, until the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. A patch of weeds, a boxer's biography, and a mild, lukewarm bath. They're all clues that lead the police of Jackson, Michigan to a killer in the gangbuster story on CBS this Saturday night. It's the case of the double push, to be heard on most of these same CBS stations this Saturday night. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Nestle's Ever Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's Chocolate Bars now presents Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Visions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have been taken back millions of years through time and forced out of Scarno's spaceship in a tropic jungle on the planet Earth. Take care of that car pit, huh? I'll get stuck in this stuff without a hard time getting in. Captain Rockets, what was that? But I think it is. We're in trouble.
Hey, Commander, look. Coming out of the jungle. It's a monster.
Tyrannosaurus. The biggest dinosaur that ever lived.
It must be 50 feet high.
That's good. I think it makes sense.
Look at those feet.
Gobble us up in one bunch. It saw us, Hap. Run! We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Monster from the Past.
It's quicker than a jet flight. It's quicker than the speed of light. It's Nestle's Quick, the miracle product that mixes so quick it gives you chocolate milk in seconds. Fellas and girls, have you tried instant Nestle's Quick? Nothing was ever so speedy. Here's all you have to do to get perfect chocolate milk. First, pour out your big, cold, frosty glass of milk. Then add 2 teaspoons of Nestle's Quick. That's right. You pour the milk first, then you add Quick. Spoon it around once or twice, and there's your chocolate milk. Why, it practically makes itself. And where do you taste that flavor? Quick is just like those great Nestle's chocolate bars. Yes, sir, it's got that special Nestle's chocolate taste, that special Nestle's chocolate richness, that special Nestle's chocolate smoothness. It's a real soda fountain treat right in your own home. You're going to love having wonderful Nestle's Quick with meals and for snacks and before bedtime. And you can tell Mom that Quick is good for you because it's fortified with vitamin D. And the more Quick you drink, the more milk you drink. So she's sure to approve. Ask Mom to get that big brown and yellow can of Nestle's delicious, most chocolate, quickest treat in the universe. That's Q-U-I-K. Nestle's Quick.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Monster from the Past. Commander Corey is using every facility of the Space Patrol in his search for the elusive criminal Dr. Ryland Scarno. Ordinary methods of detection have proven futile because Scarno is able to escape capture by traveling through time, where no one can follow him. At this moment, Scarno is in Saturn City visiting an accomplice, Joseph Merck. Merck is examining some rough, untouched stones that Scarno has handed to him.
Perfect, Dr. Scarno. Perfect. Every bit as good as the last one. Actually, Scarno, before I peddle any more of these diamonds, I want to know where you got them. Just in the case they're stolen. That's stolen. I found them on Earth in South Africa. That's a big country. Where in South Africa? On the Kimberley. You discovered a new field? No. I discovered an old one. I've been back in time. Back to the 19th century. Then it's true, these rumors about your time machine. Oh, yes. I stole a Star Drive spaceship. Hyperspace computer is slightly out of adjustment. By accident, I discovered that the mechanism can be used to travel through time as well as in space. Yes. And wonderful. The possibilities. Possibilities are right in front of you. Diamonds. You brought them into the 30th century from space. Exactly. Diamonds were discovered in South Africa in the year 1867. A hunter accidentally found several stones along the Orange River in a hotel. History gets described the exact site in the tape. And you went back in time to that very spot. I went back to 1866, 1 year earlier. Now, listen, you never make money in a hurry. I've got an idea that'll bring us several thousand credits in a couple of days. Go ahead. I'm listening. Did you ever hear of the island of Mauritius? No. What about it? It's east of Africa, a few hundred miles off the coast of Madagascar. What's on this island? Diamond? Gold? No. Birds. Birds? With millions in diamonds, you talk about birds. Now, wait. Hundreds of years ago, a strange and rare type of bird lived on this island. But it was slaughtered by the thousands and became extinct. No living bird of this species was ever seen after 1681. I'm not interested. Arnold, you realize how valuable one of these birds would be if we could bring it alive into the 30th century. Scientific foundation would be a fortune. When? Immediately. I had connection with the leading zoos and bird bands. Remember, Stan, a diamond requires time and craftsmanship to increase its value. The bird can be sold just as it is. Tell me about this island. Elsewhere, Buzz and Happy are on the planet Earth, where Buzz has been consulting with mathematicians and electronics experts on the problem of time travel. Between meetings, the Commander and Happy are visiting the Washington Zoological Gardens at the invitation of the curator, Dr. Dawson. What was it Dr. Dawson wanted to show us? Some new exhibit that just came in. He wouldn't tell me what it was, but it seemed pretty exciting. Right now, I'm more interested in what those signs that said if they can only find a way to make the solar 5 travel through time, we can track this time. We've got the best brains in the solar system working on it. So far, nowhere near a solution. Inferno's hyperspace control is a freak effect, is that it? I don't know. Still got to find out why, but we can Might happen to other Starbride ships. Yeah. The ships could suddenly disappear into the past or into the future, and you never know what happened to them. Well, maybe something happened to Skyner. That could explain why we haven't heard any reports on it for several days. I'm not so sure we haven't heard. Skarner's best bet is to bring small items of great value from the past into the present. Oh, like the pirate treasure we brought back the first time. Yes. The dealer on Saturn received some diamonds from one of the getting snakes. The holy dealer found the uncut stones on Venus on a honeymoon trip. He could have. I mean, there are diamonds on Venus. Yes, but so far none of this particular type. They're similar to diamonds from some region of Earth, chiefly South Africa. However, this Joseph Merck could have been telling the truth. Joseph Merck? Oh, that's the man who sold the diamonds. Yes. Here comes Dr. Johnson.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Commander.
You've had plenty to keep us interested, Doctor.
I'll say. You must have every bird in the universe in those cages. No, not quite. But I'm going to show you gentlemen something that will more than make up for any omission.
You mean the new exhibit?
Yes. Now, if you just come down the pad to the next stage, please. Sure. If anyone had told me a week ago that there was any such bird as this in existence, I would have laughed in the face. What kind of a bird is it? Oh, I want you to see it before I tell you. Frankly, I am more excited about this bird than I've been about anything in years. What do you think of it?
Sure, funny looking. A great big body, little scrawny wings. Don't tell me it can fly.
It cannot walk very well either.
I shouldn't think so. Those short, steady legs. I hate to get in the way of a big hooked beak.
Gentlemen, for more than 1,000 years, the bird was believed to be extinct. The last reliable report on any living bird of this species dates back to 1681.
Well, I give up, Dr. Dawson. What is it?
The gentleman is a dodo.
A dodo? I never heard of it. Well, except in the expression, dead is a dodo.
The phrase refers to this very bird. In the 16th century, there were plentiful on the islands of Mauritius, in the Indian Ocean. But for less than 200 years, they had all been killed or so it was thought.
Amazing, Doctor.
How did you get this one? Let me show ornithology, Ornithology, an expert on birds. He found it in the interior of Madagascar. As you may know, Madagascar is a few hundred miles from Mauritius, the original Dodo Island.
And for hundreds and hundreds of years, a few of these birds managed to survive in Madagascar.
Very true. In fact, this Dodo may be one of the last two in existence. The ornithology part, the other one. I made arrangements to settle the water.
Dr. Dawson, would you mind telling me the name of this ornithologist who discovered the Dodo?
No, not at all. The man's name is Merck. Joseph Merck.
Joseph Merck. What? Does he live in Saturn City?
Yes. He's going to ship the other Dodo to me as soon as I send him the money.
Dr. Dawson, call him off a day or so until I have a talk with him.
Now, please, Commander, I hope nothing will happen to upset the present arrangement. I simply must have these birds.
Don't worry, Doctor. After I talk with Merck, you'll either get the Dodos for the agreed price, or you'll get them absolutely free. And in Saturn City, Joseph Merck goes about the exacting task of cutting and polishing the rough diamond. Skarno stands over him impatiently.
Isn't there some way to speed that up, Merck? Isn't it the same diamond you started on this morning? What's the matter? Why are you stopping?
Skarno, shaping a diamond is a very delicate operation. I can't do it and answer your idiotic questions at the same time.
I'm on edge, I guess. What about that zookeeper? Wasn't he supposed to contact you about the other Dodo?
Just be patient. Now that we have one of them, we'll just have to have the other one. I know Dawson. What's that? That Dodo is so pretty. Get those two out of sight. You see this whole bench slide right back into the wall. Watch. There you are. You better get in the back room, sir. All right. Get rid of them quickly, understand? Yes? I'm Commander Corey of the Space Patrol. I'm looking for Joseph Merck. Hi, Merck. What can I do for you? I'd like to talk to you about your deal with Dr. Dawson. Yes? Involving a certain rare bird. Oh, good. I'll tell you. Yes, sir. Forgive me if I don't understand why the Space Patrol is concerned about this. After all, there's no question of fraud. Dr. Dawson's convinced that the bird I left with him is a real dodo. Yes, I know. But as I understand it, you have another dodo here in Santa. Okay? Yes. It's to be delivered to Dr. Dawson, but he needs certain financial terms. And you admit bringing a dodo from Earth to Saturn. Of course. When any form of wildlife is brought from one planet to another, it must pass through quarantine. No spaceport on Earth or Saturn has any record of inspecting a bird. You can't be serious. There's no dangerous disease. I've brought dozens of birds from one planet to another, and not one has been a carrier of harmful bacteria. Yes, I know. That's true of 30th century birds, but it may not be true of birds from the 16th. Commander, from the way you talk, one would think you're suggesting that these two birds were actually alive in the 16th century. Exactly what I am suggesting, Mr. Knight. You believe the bird is 1,400 years old? Well, I believe you transplanted two birds from the 16th century into the present. It's serious, such a thing is impossible. Well, if you have a star-drive spaceship that'll go back into the past. Mr. Murphy recently sold some diamonds, I believe. Yes, I did. Diamonds I found on Venus. Are you sure they didn't come from Earth? If you can travel in time, you can get back to the time and the place where diamonds are plentiful. Where dodos swarm like pigeons in the forest. This is all ridiculous. I've committed no crime. Perhaps you know someone who has. Ryland Scarno. Ryland Scarno? I've never heard of it. What I We'll see how you react to the Now, if you show me where that other dodo is, I'll put it in quarantine.
Don't be necessary, Chloe. Look out, Commander. It's Scarno.
I won't worry. The first slight move from either of you, and I'll drop it. Scarno. It's going with the whole setup. It's not going to do him any good. Poor Commander, I took you back into the past to get rid of you. Didn't you? Only because I made the mistake of returning to that same instant of time. This time, there'll be no mistake. They just managed the ship while they're still unconscious. They're going back into the past, Murph, and they'll never return.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment.
Say, Captain Seatbelt, if you had 3 wishes, what would you wish for, huh?
Well, Tony, let me think.
I know what I'd wish for. You want to hear?
Sure.
I wish I owned a glass factory first.
Well, that's kind of strange. What's your next wish?
I wish I owned all the cows in the world.
Oh, now I'm beginning to get it. And your third wish would be?
To have cans of Nestle Quik whenever I snap my fingers.
That's certainly sensible, Tony. You know, with your factory, you'd always have nice big glasses. With your cows, you'd get all the cold milk you'd need. And then you'd drop in your Nestle's Quik and have a never-ending supply of the world's most sensational chocolate milk.
Boy, I sure love Nestle's Quik. The Quik milk is chocolate bar flavored. So good, rich, and delicious. Golly, I can make my own glass of Quik whenever I like. And all I do is pour the glass of milk and then drop in 2 teaspoons of Quik. Quik mixes instantly.
In fact, Tony, Nestle's Quik practically makes itself. It's that fast and that simple. And Quik is such a treat. It's like having a soda fountain right in your own home.
And all it takes is a glass, some cold milk, and 2 spoonfuls of wonderful Nestle's Quik. And seriously, Patrollers, you tell your mom that Quik makes milk taste so great, you'll be drinking lots more of it. And that's sure to freeze your tummy. Remember, you want Nestle's Quik in the big brown and yellow can.
And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Monster from the Past. Commander Corey learned that the hunter who captured 2 specimens of the supposedly extinct dodo is the same man who claimed to have found some valuable diamonds on Venus. But to Buzz, this coincidence suggested the work of Dr. Scarno and his ship and travels through time. While Buzz and Happy were questioning the amazingly lucky hunter, Dr. Scarno rendered them unconscious with a ray gun. At this moment, Buzz and Happy are captives aboard Scarno's ship somewhere in space.
Seems to me we've been in Stardrive an awful long time. So I stopped figuring what we're going to do here. Once Scarno took us off this ship, we'll be back in some past period of time with no way to return. Then whatever we do, we've got to do it before the ship lands. Hold it, Tom.
Just relax, Corey. You force me to use this ray gun again, it may be very bad for all of us.
Something wrong?
I'm not sure. You seem to be holding in Stardrive for an unusually long time. I want you to check the hyperspace computer. Suppose we don't.
Suppose we like it in Stardust.
If you think this situation is giving you an advantage, you're mistaken, Cadet. There is an error in the computer. Each second may be magnifying that error.
That's true, Scarno. To become lost in a strange dimension, probably.
Well, there's your choice, Commander. Repair the computer and be sure of a chance of survival. Or be stubborn and meet an unknown fate in the nothingness of hyperspace.
All right. Let me look at the computer.
While Happy, Scarno, and Joseph Merck look on, Buzz checks the baffling maze of circuits in the hyperspace computer. Carefully, he makes delicate adjustments of the complex instruments. Then replaces the camera.
Is it fixed? I don't know. Remember, this particular computer was out of alignment to begin with. That's why you're able to travel in time. What did you do to it? One group of circuits was working against another. I brought them into balance.
Yes, but I don't notice any change.
Listen. What's happening? Hey, we're coming out of Star Drive. Look through the ports. We're in regular space. He's right. The blackness is gone. There are stars out there.
Look, keep an eye on Corey and the cadet. We've got to find out where we are.
I think we're in the solar system. Constellations look familiar, and that planet over there could be Jupiter. Well, if that's Jupiter, then that other planet in the starboard viewport must be Earth.
Well, I had the computer set correctly after all. All Corey did was bring us out of Star Drive.
Yeah? You still don't know what century you're in. Scarno, let's land on Earth and put Corey and the cadet out of the ship. We don't care what century they're stranded in. You'd better care if you want to return to the 30th century.
He's right, man. We've got to know our exact space-time coordinates.
The planet we're headed for, it can't be Earth. That's right. The shape of the continents are all different. That isn't Earth, Scarno.
Corey, what's happened?
The Earth can change quite a bit over several million years. A million, did you say? Scarno's time machine evidently stripped its gears. Could be skipped back a few centuries. It's bounded back by eras and metrics. How far back?
Tell me, Corey. How far?
I've been checking over the computer. I say around 140 million years. Give or take 10 million. 140 million years? So that would be the Mesozoic era. And probably the Jurassic period. What I can see in the viewscope, there's a lot of vegetation on the planet. Yes, giant ferns on top of the plants for the most part. You see aged reptiles, lizards of all types, dinosaurs. Dinosaurs? You mean those prehistoric monsters? Well, not all monsters. The others real when they're no bigger than common house cats.
Corey, I'm going to give you a very great honor. You and the cadet are going to be the first human beings to see living dinosaurs.
You're going to put us out of the ship this far back in the past?
Why not? With your superior intelligence, you should be able to survive.
A few hours later, Scarno sets the spaceship down on a small area of high ground in the midst of a steaming marsh. Around the ship is a jungle of giant ferns and conifers. Holding ray guns, Scarno and Merck forced Buzz and Happy toward the open hatch.
This is where we say goodbye, Corey. Go on, get out of the ship.
You're going to have to answer for this someday, Scarno.
I'll take that chance. I'll go on, get out.
Scarno, look. See over there by the water? It's a big lizard. A baby dinosaur. Scarno, if we can take that with us to the 30th century, it'd be worth a fortune. Let's capture it.
Capture that? Now, are you crazy, man?
We can stun it with a ray gun. At the most, it weighs 200 pounds. We can make Corey and the cadet carry it into the ship.
I don't like the idea of being in a spaceship with a live dinosaur.
Keep it unconscious. Besides, it's not a meat eater. Look, see? It's nibbling on water plants at the edge of the pool.
Is it worth the trouble?
Worth the trouble? Look what we've got for two dodos, and they've only been extinct a few centuries. This thing is 140 million years old. It's worth its weight in uranium.
All right, Scarno. You make Corey and the cadet carry the dinosaur. I'll wait here in the ship until Corey...
Dinosaur hasn't hurt us yet. I suppose the ray gun doesn't affect it. It's going to take several blasts to knock it out. If it could hear us, it's raising its head. Every time. Don't move. What's that sound? It's free of power over from the line. Now it's like over that floor. It's right from the way around the world that's hard to get closer to the water. It's stuffing that stuff out of the hand pan, but come on. The dinosaur's going back to eating. Look, the rockets. What was that? It scared away our baby dinosaur. I'm getting back to the ship. Commander, look. Coming out of the jungle. It's a monster. It's a Tyrannosaurus. It must be 50 feet high. looking around. Hey, look at the size of those teeth. You could gobble a man up in one bite. You two stand back. I'm running for the ship. I'm still. Murk, you idiot! Murk, use your ray gun. It won't stop that thing. It may slow it down. Shoot! It's still coming. Ow! I'm stuck. Help me! We're falling into the tar pit. We can keep that tar pit between us and the dinosaur. They can run 3 times as fast as we can. Commander, it's stuck. It's stuck in the tar. Hope it's deep enough to hold the dinosaur while we pull Murk out. Come on. Help me! Pull me out! Give me a hand, Murk. Now brace your feet. Grab me around the waist. Now pull. Getting in. Once more. Pull. That's it. We have to leave the ship before that thing gets loose. Darno, he's blasting off. Darno, don't leave me here. Don't leave me. He's gone. He left me here in a world full of monsters. We can't survive in a world like this. We're helpless.
Right now, the safest place is right here by this target. There's our life insurance. Down Tyrannosaurus.
Huh?
Every living thing is afraid of that monster. No other dinosaurs don't come close until this one sinks into the tar and disappears. Hours pass, and the steaming fern jungle is silent. In the tar pit, the huge dinosaur struggles grow weaker, and the vast 20-ton bulk sinks deeper into the black mire. Buzz, Happy, and Murk, prisoners in prehistoric times, remain close to the tar pit.
I'm getting hungry. Now, I wonder if we could find some fruit or something like that.
I doubt it. We're in the Mesozoic period, where the olive plants are seeded.
That's right. Fruit-bearing trees won't emerge for millions of years. My stomach isn't going to wait.
If Murk hadn't dropped the ray gun into the tar pit, might be able to stun some small lizards.
Lizards? Guess I'm not hungry after all. Commander, listen. Am I crazy, or is that a spaceship?
A ship, all right. Scarno, I've been expecting him.
Expecting him? Why? Why would he come back?
I imagine he had some trouble getting out of the Mesozoic era.
You tampered with that hyperspace computer.
I fixed it so it wouldn't go back into the star drive.
Here he comes in for a landing. Oh, but he's praying his heart out that we're still alive.
Now, come on. Let's see what kind of offer Scarno will make us for a little advice on time travel. Wait right here.
Stand right where you are. I've got you covered. Hail Scarno. We of the Mesozoic era salute you. Get up to this. Hey, Corey, what did you do to the hyperspace computer?
It's a little complicated, Scarno. I'd have to show you.
And your price for that, I suppose, is a return to the 30th century.
Plus your immediate surrender. Hand over your weapon.
Not so fast, Corey. Given a little time, I could probably locate the trouble myself. I'll be perfectly safe inside the ship. And you'll be at the mercy of the dinosaurs. Hey, Commander. It's another Tyrannosaurus. Yes. Probably searching for its mate there in the tar pit. You'd better accept my terms, Corey.
What are they?
Get the ship back to the 30th century, and I'll release you unharmed. You haven't much choice, Corey.
All right. I'll get you back to the 30th century. With Murk guarding Buzz and Happy, Scarno blasts off from Earth. Then, out in space, Buzz corrects the hyperspace computer and plots a vector for a return to the 30th century. The ship cuts into star drive, and after anxious moments emerges into regular space. The others wait expectantly as Buzz makes an astrogation check. Checks out, Scarno. The positions of the stars and planets show we're back in the true present. By real star time, it's just 9 hours since it blasted off from Saturn. How can you tell so exactly? By the positions of Saturn's moons. If you don't believe me, tune in a pair of time signal frequency on the spacephone.
I believe you. And now, Commander...
And now you can release us. I suggest Mars. You can land near a settlement and blast off without being seen.
And then you'd continue your attempt to capture me. No, Corey. I'm putting you both out into space right now.
But Scarno, you promised if we brought you back to the 30th century.
Yeah, but that promise was made 140 million years ago. Murk, use your ray gun on them. We'll push them out into space.
Captain
Murk, look out! Drop it, Mert! Oh, wait.
Don't move, Corey. Come in closer and I'll shoot. Don't be a fool, Scarno. That's a blaster. It'll tear a hole in the ship. But I hit you first. I'm warning you. All right, Corey.
Give me that gun.
That's a fool thing to do, Hap.
Yes, sir?
Keep Mert and Scarno covered. I'll see if that blast gun tore a hole in the ship.
If there was a leak, we'd know it by now.
It's been a weak charge. Well, here's what's safe.
The instrument panel. Oh, it's sure that it sounded on it. Look at the electric control.
No, the control section's okay. But it looks like we're not only the first human beings to see a live dinosaur, but also the last.
What do you mean, sir?
The hyperspace computer's wrecked, fused into a massive junk. Well, we'll never know what made it able to travel through time.
Well, I guess maybe it's just as well. From what I've seen of the past, I'm convinced there's no time like the present.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
What's new?
Nestle's new.
Nestle's what?
Coconut. Oh, that's my favorite verse, Commander, because I sure go for Nestle's great new coconut bar.
So I see, Hap. Are you practically gone through the entire month's supply already?
Oh, gee, Commander, I just can't help myself. When I bite into that luscious, thick, rich milk chocolate just loaded with crisp, toasted coconut, I sort of lose my head. I got to keep eating.
I'll admit there never has been such a delicious chocolate bar as the new Nestle's coconut bar.
Well, except maybe those other sensational Nestle's chocolate bars. You know, the rich milk chocolate, the almond bar, and wonderful crunch.
Stop. Now you're making me hungry.
Well, what are we waiting for? Be my guest, Commander. Have a Nestle's chocolate bar. And that goes for you, too, fellas and girls. Remember, Nestles. Nestle's makes the very best chocolate.
Now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are aboard the Terra 5, rushing toward the planet Saturn. Suddenly, another ship fires at them.
That was close, Commander. He's getting his range with those torpedoes.
We'll try evasive action.
Why don't we give Brokaw some of his own medicine? A few blasts with our space cannon and
we can't shoot. We've got to think about those people in Saturn City. If we destroy Brokaw, we destroy the only person who can cure that epidemic.
Smoke and rockets, we can't fight back. So all Brokaw has to do is keep firing until he hits us.
Be with us again next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, The Weed of Despair. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Bela Kovac, Ken Mayer, Norman Jolly, and Tony Sides. Dick Tufel speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast for our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.